I thought bro was cooked during the night. But surprisingly, maybe not Shion. Let him live. Alright, so Keiichi. Just leave him alone. Oh, this is like parents, I'm guessing. His friends went missing. It must be really hard for him. Oh, yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is. Normally, my dad never shows me any consideration, but this time he did. Shouldn't Keiichi stay home from school for a while, too? I think it would be safer not to go until the police do something about this. Maybe. Compared to what happened, compared to what could happen, taking a few days off wouldn't be a bad idea. Anyway, how is it logical not to close school during such a dangerous situation? What do those teachers think our children are? Mom and Dad were getting pretty riled up, but at this point, I couldn't care less. Besides, that wasn't the only thing I couldn't care less about. The breakfast table and the food in front of me, the time and date, myself, I really had no interest in anything. This feeling, it was like a dead fog in my mind. It felt like getting dizzy after taking strong medication. Keiichi, how are your studies going? You've gotten further than the other kids, haven't you? If you have, then you can take a few days off, alright? I didn't even feel like answering. Today was Thursday. 4 days have passed since the Watanagashi festival. Such a short time, and yet now things were completely different. Everything had changed. The tranquil village, bright and clear as if it were an Indian summer, had undergone a total reversal. People were made to disappear every night, and we couldn't even relax when walking out in broad daylight. The village had become a world of fear. I had no right to curse this outcome. After all, the one responsible for everything was me. That night, I couldn't resist my honestly tiny little and incredibly stupid curiosity and broke the taboo. This isn't somewhere we should be going, is it? Let's not. It's a crime to force your way into a locked building even if you don't steal anything. That is true. That is true. Shion, now that you know they weren't having some secret rendezvous, you've had enough, right? I don't want to do something like this. What if Rika's dance ends while we're messing around in here? I prattled on as I took the lock from Tomitake's hands and put it back on the door. I'll forget everything I saw here, so come on. Let's go, let's go. Sakura was fretting, but I pushed her away. Tomitake grinned painfully. Shion's shoulders drooped as if to call me an idiot. Ever so, I didn't care. I pushed everyone farther and farther away. Rika's dance was still going on. Then at last, her dance was brought to a close with a roaring applause. I too, until my hands turned red, I clapped and I clapped. I'm guessing that's run at the door. Run at the door right now. Isn't that Rena? She's here because it's your usual meetup time, isn't it? Isn't she? I looked up at the clock. It was 5 minutes past my time to meet with Rena. Keiichi, shouldn't you take a few days off from school? You're right. Thanks for being so considerate. I rose from my seat. I went to the entrance to greet Rena. Good morning. We're going to school as a group starting today. So, you can't be late. Ah, that's right. If we, the furthest ones away, were to be late, the younger kids on the way there would be waiting for us. I think I'm going to take some time off from school. Aw. Okay. Rena answered shortly, nodding. I think you should do whatever's best for you, Keiichi, so you don't need to feel that you're weak or anything. Okay, whoa, I didn't say that. Oh, and here. It's a notice that they're sending around. Could you give it to your mom? I think it has a lot of important announcements in it. I took the notice. There was a lot more pages than normal. The one on top announced the disappearance of the mayor, Rika, and Sadako, and that they wanted any information about them. It made my heart ache. The police are looking at as best as they can too. They'll find them for sure. Just be patient. Yeah, just be patient. Okay? Rena said, smiling in an attempt to give me courage. Rather than that, though, her smile looked like it was because she herself wanted to believe they were safe. Rena, you're not going to question me? Nope. Rena, you know, don't you? About that night, do you mean when you stuck into the ritual storehouse? Yeah, everyone fucking knew. I mean, I guess they weren't wrong. I guess Oishi wasn't wrong when he said everyone knew already, pretty basically. So, okay. What the fuck? I was speechless for a moment, but then I bit my lip, made up my mind, and nodded a little. Oh, fuck. Come on. Okay, I didn't. Okay, so it's all out in the open, huh? Really? I shouldn't do bad things like that. Mion was really mad. She was upset. So she was upset, I suppose. She would have been. I don't think she was as angry about you sneaking in there, though, as much as about you hiding it from her. Maybe, Keiichi, maybe you should tell her yourself and apologize. And maybe you should have told her and apologized. There we go. I should have told her myself and apologized. That troubled me. Just 1 week ago, I did something that I told myself should have apologized to Mion for. That I myself should have apologized to Mion for. I'd hurt her badly. However, I hadn't realized that at all. Plus, with all the confusion that Shion's appearance had brought, I still hadn't been able to talk to Mion about it. Lena, you're right. I never realized anything until you tell me. Keiichi, hypothetically, if you had admitted to you've done something wrong right away and apologized to Mion, I wonder if Rika and Sadako wouldn't have had to disappear. All right. I couldn't answer that right away. I couldn't admit to that. Wasn't Rena telling me right now, though, that I should have admitted to my crime sooner? If I had done that and apologized, would things not have gone in such a horrible direction? Rena's eyes were filled with kindness, but they weren't naive enough to forgive me for keeping silent, and they stared fixated into my own. Yeah, you're right. If I had admitted my crime sooner, then Rika and Sadako... I keep wanting to say Rico for some reasons. It comes out fast. It comes out easier. Wouldn't have had to die or disappear. Oh, shit. Smack. Oh, shit. I thought I just got rocked. Like, holy fuck. The palm of Rena's hand slapped me on the cheek. I stood there unmoving. My head still tilted in the direction I'd been hit. It didn't hurt at all. I don't think anyone has scolded you, Keiichi. So I'll scold you in their place, okay? I pressed a hand to my cheek, now warm with embarrassment, and quietly stared down at Rena's feet. Going somewhere you're not allowed to go was a very bad thing to do. Do you understand that? Uh-huh. Answer me with a yes, sir. Alright, you're gonna head off to work. Alright, yo, later. Peace out, Shay. Keiichi. Yes. Also, what's even worse is you didn't admit to having done anything so bad. You should never do anything bad in the first place, and not admitting to it or apologizing for it is much, much worse. Yes, I was wrong. For a few moments, Rena stared at me silently and intently, as if gauging my remorse. Then, finally, the tension in her face softened, and she smiled. Okay, then, it's about time. I should be going. Alright. Be sure to give the notice to your mom, okay? Also, warn her not to go up past it, oh my god, I can't read. Warn her not to go out to pass it on after it gets dark. Okay? That was a weird sentence for me. I bent down and picked up the notice, which I dropped when she slapped me. The pages had come out of the clasp and were making a mess on the floor. I gathered them up one by one. My hand stopped at a single more light-hearted page with a peaceful sentence dancing on it. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki house if you want some. What is this? I picked up the page and scanned the rest of it. They were stockpiling high-quality soy sauce they got from faraway relatives in the Akita prefecture. Ah. Is that where Rika and Sadako could have gone? They had gotten a big shipment recently. They couldn't use it all, so they wanted anyone who wanted of it to feel free to come over, is what it said. And P.S. It said it arrived in barrels and to please bring a 2-liter bottle or other container for it. That's how it would tie together. If you need some soy sauce, then you could go to the Sonozaki house, Rena. Did you know all along? Yeah, I knew. Rena had already been suspicious of Mion as soon as she noticed that the big bottle of soy sauce was missing. Rika had taken the bottle and gone to Mion's house, and there she was erased. Rika wasn't coming back, so Sadako called Mion's house since she knew where she had gone, and then Sadako got called there as well. The meeting on the day of the mayor disappeared. Didn't Oishi say that their 3 families participated in it? The 3 families would include the Sonozaki family. Didn't he also say that the current leader was really old, as her heir, Mion, frequently stood in her place for her at public appearances? While the mayor was returning from the shrine, Mion called out and stopped him. She talked to him and invited him to their house, and then she made him disappear. It was probably even simpler to make Shion disappear. Shion was a part of the Sonozaki family after all. They probably knew exactly what she was doing at all times. I'm sure they even knew her part-time job schedule too. Thinking back, wasn't that Angel Mort store managed by the Sonozaki family? Setting up an ambush for her there wouldn't have been any trouble at all. I'm going to Mion. I'll apologize. I'll go to apologize. I'm going to have her put an end to everything. Mion probably won't forgive me easily, but I'll go and ask her not to sacrifice anyone else. With that decided, there was no need for me to be lazing around here anymore. I put on my shoes and slipped past Rena to exit the house. When she stopped me, I'm going too. Rena, shouldn't you be going to school? This was way more important than school. Rena, you shouldn't come. If you get wrapped up in this too, then I think I might actually go crazy. Rena didn't move her arm, which was blocking the way. If Keiichi-kun disappears as well, then I think I might actually go crazy too. So I won't let you go alone. Rena argued boldly as tears welled up in her eyes. At least give your mom the packet, dog, first. Like, damn. I saw them, and I knew the strength and resolve. Alright, let's go. Thank you, Rena. Rena nodded slightly but firmly, and finally let down the arm blocking me. Let's go to Mion's house. I'll apologize for the crimes I've committed. Then we'll put an end to these twisted days. After that, I'll pray that once more we can return to those fun, lively days. I mean, Tomitake and Takano are still dead, though. With Rena following me, I left the house. In front of the house there was a car waiting. It was Oishi. Hey, good morning, Maebara. To you too, Ryugu. Together so early in the morning, you make me jealous. What a truly praiseworthy man he was. If he had been lying in wait so early in the morning just to pressure me into talking on this morning, though, maybe this was actually a good opportunity. You're from the police. Oh, then I haven't introduced myself to you, Ryugu-san. Please excuse my rudeness. My name is Oishi from the Okinawa Police Department. Pleased to meet you. Are we telling Oishi? Yeah, I think my palm is enough punishment for your crime, Keiichi, but we should leave Mion to these people. Pain and sadness. I look down as those emotions built up in my house. He did not say my house. What the fuck am I saying? I gotta look at my stream on my fucking browser again because it's delayed. All right, what the hell did he say? Pain and sadness, I look down at those. And my heart, yep. We have to tell you something. We have something to tell you, Oishi. Well, now, what about? Should we stand here and talk, or go inside the car? In the car, please. I only continued to look down weakly. All I could do was be thankful for how dependable Rena was. Alright. At Rena's urging, I revealed everything to Oishi. The latter, while making sure to throw in murmurs that he was paying attention every now and then, took notes. We continued that way for a while. How do you feel? Don't you feel a lot better now that you've told me? Oishi asked this while scratching his head with his ballpoint pen. Of course I don't feel better. The price that had been paid up until now for me not owning up to my crimes had been so immense. But as long as the payment wasn't returned, the load on my chest could never be removed. His radio started to emit static. This is Kumitani. Oishi. Over? Yes, hello. This is Oishi. We got news a few minutes ago that she's been absent from school. No movement at the Sonozaki house. Our target is still on the premises. Yes, good. Keep a close watch on that. Roger that. Cars 3 and 7 just arrived for support, and we've returned to base. Also, I think the division chief is looking for you, Oishi. He keeps annoying me, too, even though I keep telling him I'm trying to get in touch with you. What should I do? If you're hard-pressed on an answer, tell him you're actually under orders not to wake me up from my morning nap. Got it. The radio grew silent. Sorry about that. It was about work. He just said that there was no movement at the Sonozaki house, didn't he? Oh my, did it sound like that to you? This won't do. Please keep that a secret, alright? I don't have permission from the division chief to be making private inquiries like this. Oishi had suspected Mion for a long time. Nor for questioning witnesses, or for searching houses. We don't have permission for anything, really. The Sonozaki house's defense is said to protect. The family members are also in full working condition. Without a warrant, we can't do anything about anything unless the crime happens right in front of us. Oishi, could you be? Rena's tone of voice alone was enough to make her spite clear as she stared at Oishi. You can't set a foot in the Sonozaki house. Were you trying to get Keiichi to go in there instead? Rena, what do you mean? This person, just as I thought, he plays really dirty. Stop, you're hurting my reputation. That said, I'm all ears to your explanation, okay? Oishi lit a cigarette and responded to Rena, wearing an expression implying he was calm and willing to let her comment slide. You can't get a warrant, but you've always had your eyes on Mion because you thought she was very suspicious. Yes? You plotted to incite Keiichi and have him go to the Sonozaki house. Then if something were to happen to him, you would have used that as an excuse to go in. Isn't that right? I only understood about half of what Rena was saying. I mean, that's not that hard to understand. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, bro, you're Keiichi. You're bait. Just as her Higurashi stopped fucking going, yo, Keiichi, you're bait. This guy is gonna use you as bait. That's his plan. That was his plan. I knew, however, that Oishi had been trying to use me. Even if Keiichi got hurt as a result, have you no shame? Is this how the police do things? I mean, I guess technically it's like how the police do things under extreme, restrictions. It seems we have an incredible detective on our hands. Oh my, oh my. Would you be interested in taking our exam? I'd gladly write a recommendation letter to get you into the detective committee division. You're despicable. Rena spoke quietly, her words dripping with hostility. I've been insulted in all kinds of ways in my life, but one or two words from a young girl is always the roughest for me. Even so, I suppose I should thank you for not arresting Mion yet. Don't mention it. Oishi seemed to be enjoying his exchange with Rena. The things this man thought were like a swamp. I could barely see past the surface. It reminded me again and again of how much I disliked him. Now then, as two esteemed friends of Mion Sonozaki, what do you plan on doing now? Will you wait kindly for me to go over the evidence and request a warrant? No, we won't wait for that. We'll go and make Mion surrender herself. That's right. If she turned herself in, rather than be arrested, she might get a lighter sentence. At this point, perhaps that was the only pity I could find it in me to afford her. I see. I wonder if it will all go that well. If you're careless, you two may face danger, Oishi was measuring our resolve, so in a strong voice I declared, we're fully prepared. Oishi gave us an unpleasant and yet seemingly satisfied grin. Yo, what's up, Sav? It was then that I realized this man was trying to use us for his own convenience. If anything should happen to us, use that as an excuse. Though my greatest hope is that you will surrender to surround the place so that the criminal can't get away. Ryugu, you're good at negotiating too. I'm throwing in the towel. I surrender. What are you talking about? If the policemen surround Mion's house, then that will be insurance for the worst case scenario. For the worst case, plus it would be another way of pressuring Mion to give herself up, wouldn't it? Oishi to Kuma. This is Kuma Tani. Bro's huge. Yeah, he's a fucking brick house. Go ahead. Our two friends are going to play at the Sonozaki house. Make arrangements so that we can reinforce them if needed. Roger. Their altogether too short conversation implied that their questioning was already a part of their plans. Then, let's get going. Want to buy some tea biscuits on the way there? Neither Rena or I went along with Oishi's stupid joke. This is the last chapter, so basically whatever happens to this is the end of this fucking game. So yeah, or this game specifically, this chapter in the game, I should say, clarify. Oishi stopped the car at the place where we always waited for Mion. Come to think of it, I've never been to Mion's house before. I've only heard that it's right down this road. This is as far as I can take you. According to our information, there are quite a few security cameras set up on the premises. Still, don't worry. I've got a bunch of youngsters ready and waiting to slip past them and go in. We'll be monitoring the inside with a one-way mic, so if you two give a loud scream, we'll know right away. The scream just trapped out. I mean, seems like it's fine on my side. Huh. Okay. Yeah, it seems good for me. Is there anything I missed? Okay, no. We'll persuade her for sure, so please be ready for her to turn herself in. In both our eyes was determination. It was the only method available to us for lightening the sins of our good friend. Be plenty careful, you hear? You probably don't believe it right now, but I don't want you two being sacrificed if at all possible. You're right about that. With that rude response, we left the car. The clinging humidity and voices of the cicadas. Yep, with the voices of cicadas greeted us. I'd never have expected this would be happening today. Let's go, Keishi. Rena took the lead and began to walk down the road I'd never been. Rena, you've been to Mion's house before, right? Yeah, a few times. It's a really big house. You could fit a mountain into their backyard, too. You could pick mushrooms and stuff through the fences everywhere. Big enough to fit a mountain. That was amazing. One of the three families controlling Hinamizawa and the head of the Sonozaki clan. Perhaps there was something to be said about its magnitude. The path continued onward, level and uneventful. There were metal fences along its edges. Mion's backyard is mountain level. And beyond them were woods with trees growing thickly. I don't know. The fences were high, the tops of them bent inwards, sticking out like sharp spears. Plus, there was a dangerous looking barbed wire wrapping them. Damn, they got barbed wire fences around here, bro. It's that serious? I guess it is. I guess it's that serious. No one could look at them and not feel intimidated. In addition, there were signboards hung up here and there along the fence. Private property of the Sonozaki family. Entrance forbidden. Beware of venomous snakes. Active security cameras. Intruders will be charged an entry fee of 1 million yen. Okay. This forest, or should I say mountain, is this all their yard? It's more like their domain. As you can see, it's private property, but nobody maintains it. The forest isn't really the kind that you can go hiking in. She could say that again. It really did feel like a neglected, savage woodland. It was dark and damp, and certainly not a forest that made you want to go for a nice walk. Maybe that's just what happens when a landowner had too much land. Like Oishi said, there were security cameras hung up all over the place, though they had been weathered by wind and rain, casting doubt to as if they were even functional. I wonder if Mion is watching us as we come to her. I don't think she is. The only people living in Mion's house are genuinely her and her grandmother, after all. There's nobody to watch the cameras. What a useless security system. Well, Mion's father seems like a pretty tough person to get along with, so whenever everyone in the family is getting together, the cameras are apparently working properly. That's right. Mion's father, he was a big shot Yakuza, wasn't he? Ran a smoothie that danced around the answer, as she explained. Yeah. At last, a huge gate as big as I'd imagined appeared. Was she living by herself with her grandmother in a house with such a grand gateway? I wonder if she's here. Beep. The old buzzer made a dull sound. Was it cut off in the middle of and not getting into the house? We waited long enough without a response for me to start thinking like that. However, we finally heard footsteps walking through the gravel on the other side of the gate. I nervously balled my hands and palms, now sweating into fists. There was a clang of a bolt being released, and the gate opened slightly. The person peeking out of the gap was none other than Mion. Well, this is unusual. Aren't you two going to school? Mion didn't seem all that surprised at visitors arriving in the morning, which wasn't a normal time. In fact, she almost seemed relaxed, as if she knew we were coming beforehand. We stayed home today. Keiichi is one thing, but you two, Rena? You two are such troublemakers. Mion smiled lightly in the way that the Mion we knew always did. Well, let's not just stand here. Come on in. She gestured for us to follow her. I hesitated for a moment, looking at Rena. Let's go. Rena smiled cheerfully, as if she were passing through the gate of a good friend's house, and then did just that. I rally myself and then go through the gate too. Damn, they really got a big ass house if this is all their fucking property. On the other side, it hadn't been maintained very well, but it was clear that the lot was magnificently wide. It wasn't quite what you'd think of when you hear mansion, but it was very clearly a vast place. Was this the first time you've been up here, Keiichi? Yeah. This house is enormous. Steep, thatched roofs aren't in fashion anymore. This place could be a tourist attraction. I want to rebuild it using totally average and boring reinforced concrete soon. Mion dryly smiled as she said that, then closed the gate and relocked the heavy bolt. Don't worry about it. Things have been dangerous lately. Gotta do at least this much during the daytime. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw a hint of a shadow in her smile. Well then, good sir and madam, I shall show you inside. Please come this way. Mion bowed to us like a worker at a high-class hotel, then pivoted on her heel and began to walk. Rena gripped my stiffening arm lightly. Keiichi, you're too tense. We came to see Mion, remember? You don't need to be that nervous. That's right. When I get nervous, I tend to let everything show on my face. I'll stop tensing up. Even if something were to happen, there were two of us. Oishi's subordinates were waiting outside the gate for us, too. There was nothing to worry about. There's a lot to worry about, actually. I don't know why we're lying. After thinking about it that much, I realized my nervousness was already gone and laughed at myself. What's this? Mion, what's with the stone on top of the newspapers? It's in the way. There was a pile of newspapers on the floor of the entrance, and there was a large rock on the top of them. I didn't understand why something like that was here. Rena noticed me looking at it questioningly and giggled. Rena, do you know? What is this? Some kind of good luck charm? If you don't really know, then feel free to move it out of the way and put your shoes there. Keiichi, there's a nest of swallows right above that stone. Huh? Oh, you're right. This house is for people, but swallows still come in without permission and make nests. It must be like tradition for them. Whenever spring comes, they always make a nest here. It's kind of annoying, though. In other words, it's a sign to not take off your shoes here. Basically, swallow poop could end up in them. I couldn't help but laugh at the silly contrivance. My laughter naturally spread to the other two. A really long time ago, the Sonozaki family apparently cultivated silkworms. Our ancestors would get all worked up over exterminating the swallows. Ah. When you think of it that way, maybe this is just their desserts. Anyway, come on in. The inside of the house wasn't very bright at all. It was dimly lit, in fact, but mysteriously, I could still feel an elegance to the place. Mion seemed to want a more modern building, but traditional houses like this aren't bad either. You're kidding, right? There's a terrible draft, and the winters are freezing. Don't go making my house into a property of cultural significance and getting in the way of renovations. Got it? What I want most is a house like yours, Keiichi. I'm pretty jealous of it. It seems like it would be warm in the winter. Oh, but snowfall seems like it would be a problem. Snowfall's a problem? Does Hinamizawa get that much snow? Our latitude is south of Kanto, isn't it? Isn't this region warm? You don't know, Keiichi? Hinamizawa is in an area that gets heavy snowfall. When we get a lot, everyone gets buried. Sometimes you can't even get out of your house. Sometimes your car gets totally buried too, and you can't even find where it is. I wasn't aware of that. Hinamizawa was a bad place in the winter? Come to think of it, my dad, he said something like, this place got a plenty of snow, so we could have fun building igloos. Still, your front door getting buried, not being able to find your car, that's way too much snow. You remember from geography class, right? The western side of Japan gets cold winds from Asia. We're different from those softies protected by the mountains, nice and warm by the Pacific Ocean. I'm totally okay with being a softie and nice and warm. I hate the cold. Nah, I like the cold better, bro, because you can just like put more layers on, you won't be cold. Easy. We'll have to have a training camp to get Keiichi used to the cold this winter then. I mean, sorry, buddy, you're getting arrested or everyone's gonna die. Cold is better than heat. Fact, bro. Now, realistically, bro, we're not gonna be doing nothing because someone is either gonna die or she's getting arrested. Like, there's one of the two that's gonna happen here. Either Keiichi dies or she gets arrested and everything goes to shit or something like that. I don't know. I hate the cold and I hate training camps too. And I hate them even more put together. Mion laughed more uproariously. I don't know what that uproariously. Yeah, there we go. Then she even had then then told us she'd bring us out some tea and left her seat for the moment. Still, there's a lot of fun things to do in the winter. Y'all. Yeah, probably both are gonna happen. With I die, she gets arrested. I bet our club will be a blast then. Our club continuing activities through the winter sounds totally terrible. Like swimming in the cold or marching in the snow. When did we turn into Mount Redhorn? Yeah, there are definitely a lot of tough punishment games for the winter season. One time she made us have a Rio carnival in the schoolyard while snowing. Snow was falling. I see the terror of our club carrying not for the season. The victor would be decided by who could best adapt to the winter-only events. We do snowball fights and shaved ice eating contests and treasure hunts in the snow. Wait, why is everything outside? Why can't we have like tabletop games in a nice warm room or while it's snowing or something? Whoa, Keiichi. If you're saying things like that, then you're gonna lose a lot this winter. We'll have a lot of punishment games and Rena won't lose. Well, too bad, like, half the club's gone. Like, half the club's gone, and someone else is gonna die 100%. And that's gonna mean, like, you know, there's, like, fucking nobody left. Don't give me that. I settled things with a cross chop to the head. You're sure having fun. Yeah, you're in, like, the opposition territory, buddy. You're in enemy territory right now, and you're out here like, ha ha ha, fun and games, ha ha, funny. Our walls aren't very thick, so be careful not to go flying through any, okay? The paper sliding door opened and Mion returned with a pot and complete tea set. Do you want sesame seeds in your rice? Sorry, we don't have much in the way of bean paste or any good stuff, other good stuff. It's okay, it's okay. We didn't really come here to drink tea anyways. And with those words, the smile disappeared from Rena's face. Ah, she did it. That one careless statement reminded us of what we had nearly been able to forget. Yeah, bro, everything just came to realization. No, yeah, we're here to tell you to surrender to police and just admit to your crimes of killing people and shit. Yeah. I'd wanted to enjoy this peaceful time for a little bit longer, but we put an end to that with those honestly careless words. When she noticed a smile disappear from Rena's face, or Rena's expression, Mion, too, changed hers. It was as if the cheerful air that was like a warm spring day until a moment ago had slipped through the cracks in the paper door, and altogether disappeared. There was no point in regretting it now. We did not come here today to chat and enjoy ourselves. Yep, we came here to press the matter. Mion silently poured the tea. During that time, both Rena and I sat kneeling without uttering a word. Here we go. Drink up. I don't think I will. I don't think I will drink anything that you prepared. Respectfully. We couldn't even mutter a word of acknowledgement to those natural words of courtesy. There's no poison in it or anything. Do you distrust me that much? They better not drink anything given by Mion. Exactly. Exactly. That's upsetting. Mion gave a bitter smile at that and let her shoulders droop. We all remained silent. We remained silent, hoping that someone else would speak first. That was, however, the one thing we didn't want to do, and so we sat for a long time. At last, Mion smiled scornfully and opened her mouth to speak. Hey now, Keiichi, Rena, you're the guest. Didn't you come here for something? If you don't speak up first, this old man won't know what to do. Rena and I exchanged glances, and we both resigned ourselves. Rena opened her mouth to speak first, so I stopped her. Keiichi, it's okay. I needed to come here. Let me talk first. Okay, I understand. What would Keiichi have to tell me? Please give me your daughter's hand in marriage, maybe? Bro, shut up. The situation is extreme. Also adds in 30 seconds. You know damn well what we're here for, lady. You know damn well what we're here for. Can't be that. My little Rena and her Keiichi aren't meant for each other. Go wash your face with miso soup and try again later. Afterwards, I thought her mean remarks were Mion's own way of showing consideration. Mion had said those mean things in a totally normal voice, and it drained the tension from my shoulders. Mion. First, I have something to apologize for. You do? What for? Mion pretended like that she didn't know what I was talking about, but I'd clearly gotten my point across. Well, on the night of the Wata Nagashi, the ritual storehouse behind the shrine, I went in there. I could see Mion's expression immediately become harder. I knew it was somewhere I wasn't supposed to go, but it was something. It was supposed to be a little bit of exploration. We didn't mean anything by it. Even so, I still shouldn't have gone. Shouldn't have done it. So I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I display my deepest sincerity. I press my forehead to the table. I'd meant it as my way of prostrating myself. I figured it wouldn't feel sincere enough if I raised my head right away, so I left it there on the table for a while. Mion didn't say anything. With my face down, I couldn't tell what sort of expression Mion had. Only the voices of the cicadas filled the room. Mixed with them, I could hear the sound of the clock ticking. That was all. When I started to struggle to breathe from having my head down for so long, Mion told me to stop. You got me there. I didn't expect you to pitch it to me straight. You've got me on the ropes. I looked up to Mia to see that Mion's face was calm, but she was smiling faintly. If you understand that, even though it was only a casual exploration for you, Keiichi, that there are a lot of people who think it's no laughing matter, then it's okay. There's an old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Yeah, Sav, I told you there was an ad coming. It's been days since then. It may be too late, but I apologize. What I did, it was worse. Please forgive me. I can feel pitiful tears welling up within me. If I had done this sooner, maybe nothing terrible would have happened. It's okay. If you know what you did was bad, then that's enough, right? Yeah, totally not enough. I don't know, Sav can't see what happened, but I mean, not much is happening. I'm not right now. I'm not gonna lie. And I wasn't happy about it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Mion spoke like it was somebody else's problem, and I wasn't happy about it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. But it's just like, yeah, Mion just like, I don't know. She always been like third person esque. And it's like, I don't believe that saying it earlier would have stopped like anything. I'm not gonna lie. I don't believe nothing. That like apologizing sooner would have stopped like anyone from dying or not. Because like, even if he apologized, the two, Tomitake and Takano, still would have fucking died. So it's just like, brother, what's the point of apologizing after they get fucking murked? You can't bring them back. You already did the fucking deed. Goofy. Mion. Keiichi is apologizing seriously. I think maybe you should respond seriously as well. I am being serious, though. Do I not look serious to you, Rena? Not really. Not really whatsoever. You don't. Damn. Even Rena's speaking up saying that you don't sound serious. Alright. Rena was giving her tit for tat, and so the room's atmosphere quickly began to grow sharper. She was Right, even though I came here to speak from the heart like this, it felt like she hasn't been taking this seriously. Obviously, Rena isn't fond of that. Keiichi, you can get up now. Let's tell her everything. That looks like what Mion wants to. I had known it would turn out like this from the beginning. Hadn't I come here prepared for that? I mustered my willpower and bit my lip. Mion, you called Rika and Sadako here the day before yet last, right? I don't remember doing so. If you have a reason to think so, could you let me hear it? It was evening before dinner time. Rika should have come here, bringing a big bottle of soy sauce to have you share some with her. Mion was trying to keep from showing any reaction, but I didn't miss her eyelid twitching just a little bit. Why do you think that? It's not hard to understand. Mion, you saw it too, didn't you? Rika's room. Mion put a finger to her forehead and acted like she was thinking. There was a chilled tofu, but no soy sauce. Plus, the big bottle of soy sauce that should have been under the sink was nowhere to be found. What? Is that why she would have come over here? Mion dropped the act. You wrote it yourself on the notice, didn't you? That you'd share your soy sauce. How they let the rat Keiichi do this shit, I don't know. Basically, all you missed was Keiichi apologizing, and that's all it was. That's all you missed, pretty much. And now they're pressing Mion. Mion scratched her head. I heard her ever so faintly click her tongue. It was as though we found out she'd purposely given too little change to a servant. That's all I could feel from her. Then Mion, you, Rika, Era, you hit her. Rena hesitated for a moment. I could tell she didn't want to use the word erased, and that she was struggling to find another word. That was really supposed to be the end, wasn't it? For you, anyway. What are you talking about? You didn't foresee that Rika would tell Sadako that she was going to your house, did you, Mion? Then Sadako called. Might Rika be imposing on you? Yeah, probably just like that. You sound just like her. Mion, you were in a bit of a bind then, because someone knew that Rika had come here. So you decided to lure Sadako here too. Lure her out? Like how, I wonder? Mion prodded Rena on, as if trying to get to the good part of the interesting story. Rika and Sadako, might be, like, I don't know, I'm thinking they might be, or they probably are. Because they're not, they're gone. They're gone from the story. Like, they got, like, what they describe as demoned away, quote unquote, which most likely means dead. Yeah, like the two little girls, you know, like the one that Keiichi ratted to with the long, like, fucking, like, purplish hair. Yeah, she's gone. And the little, like, demon child is also gone too. With the blonde. So yeah, both of them are gone. I'm just trying to get to the good, interesting part of the story. I, however, knew I had been watching Mion change the whole time. She was restlessly twirling her fingers. She had clearly lost her calm. Of course, it was really a slight thing, and only I, who had been watching her this whole time, would have known. Mion was panicking. What Rena was saying must have been a bullseye. It probably went like this. Sadako, I actually... Goddamn. Yeah? Yep, I forgot how long that fucking thing was. I forgot how long that was. I forgot how long that was. That fucking soundboard, bro. I forgot how long it was. So, I actually made too much dinner today, so why not come over and eat? Rika came earlier and already ate some. Something like that. Scratch. Mion's nails dug into her knee. There's no recordings of the phone conversations or anything, so how do you know that much? I know it's because the dinner that Sadako made for the two of them was plastic wrapped in the refrigerator and hadn't been touched. For a few moments, Mion's face was frozen in utter amazement. She looked like she couldn't believe that this person in front of her was Rena. With just that to go on, how did you even guess that what we said over the phone? It's a long explanation, so I'll get to the point. The contents of the refrigerator provided a vivid account of what you said over the phone when you lured her out. You need to add the Super Saiyan 3 transformation? Oh, fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck all that, bro. Hell no. Mion's jaw remained on the floor. That was the only way I could describe her face. That's... I had no idea I had such an incredible detective right next to me this whole time. I can't believe you'd figure out everything, down to the phone conversation, just from what was inside the fridge. You've got me there. You've got me. You've got me. As if a dam had burst, Mion convulsing into laughter. Her laughter, though, definitely didn't make us want to laugh as well. Mion grew tired of her dumb laughter, heaved a big sigh, and scratched her head. It almost seemed like Mion had lost a detective punishment game for the club or something, and her punishment had been decided. Oh, how fun that would have been if it were true. An incredible detective. Mion, you're the one who guessed that Oishi told us. He called me an incredible detective too. Yep. As soon as she heard Oishi's name, Mion's eyes began to display panic more clearly so that anyone would be able to tell. Mion, the police have suspected you for a long time now. Oishi's officers have had the house under surveillance so that they could even break in at any time. Mion attempted to feign calm, but it looked like she was having a hard time with that. Part of her couldn't believe that the police had her surrounded, and she closely examined Rena's facial expression. However, she couldn't detect a hint of falsehood. Finally, Mion seemed to accept the fate that the police were encircling the house. Was the mayor Mion too? Were Tomitake and Takano you as well? Mion didn't answer our rapid-fire questions. I could clearly see impatience in her eyes, which were still feigning calm. At last, Mion, who had been sitting there lazily, readjusted her cushion and sat herself upright. At that moment, the atmosphere in the room completely changed. Mion's expression also changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared, and she became so solemn that you would think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. It was now in this moment. Mion had ceased to be Mion, but had changed into Mion Sonozaki, the current heir to the Sonozaki house. That solemn atmosphere about her was clearly abnormal. And it was entirely different from that of the Mion that I knew. Now I could believe it. Now I could believe. She's Shion now? No, Shion's also gone, by the way. Shion also got fucking deleted, by the way. Because Shion was a real person, but she's most likely dead now. That she was the young leader who commanded the entire Sonozaki clan, family, whatever. Mion quietly placed her both hands on the tatami mat and gave a beautifully elegant bow, as if this really were a tea ceremony, and named herself. We meet for the first time. I am the current heir of the Sonozaki house. My name is Mion. Mion's movements were so elegant, they could cut. They could cut, and we couldn't even answer her. Well, Rena and I could do was watch. All Rena and I could do was watch, baffled at her actions, which we could never imagine the normal her doing. I would like to welcome you to the Sonozaki main house today. I will greet you all in the place of our leader, Oryu. It seems as though you have various things you would like to ask. If I can be of any assistance, then I would like to answer anything without concealing anything. Damn. I mean, I know Shion like was not a big fan of Mion. So, yeah, what? What did Mion just say? Mion said she would answer anything we asked. There was a strong light of resolve in her eyes. It's really all right if we ask you anything then? I shall tell you everything I know. That is why you have come here after all. Rena and I exchanged glances. There was a mountain of things we wanted to ask Mion. However, we hesitated for a moment on what we should ask first. The first question Rena gave was extremely abstract, but it was the question everyone wanted to know right now. Why would you do this? That was what I wanted to ask as well. Why would you do this? That didn't only go for Rika and Sadako. It went for the mayor, Takano, and Tomitake as well. No, even further back, all the incidents that had been occurring every year for a little while, Mion didn't respond or couldn't respond. Right when we realized that the question was too vague and tried to put it into more concrete terms, she finally opened her mouth to speak. To answer that question will take some time. If that is acceptable, however, then I would by all means like you to hear it. She spoke clearly. She spoke with clarity that a grandmother might use when telling a story from a long time ago. Yeah. Do you think that Hinamizawa village used to be called Onigafuchi village? Or do you know? My bad. Rena nodded lightly, then shot me a glance asking me if I did. I returned her nod. Hinamizawa was once called Onigafuchi village. Yes, I heard all about it that night from Takano in the ritual storehouse. They firmly believed that the demon blood ran through their veins and cut off all contact with the outside world. They were worshipped by those in the village as at the foot of the mountains and treated like transcendents, those capable of magic. That's right. Our ancestors in Onigafuchi village were proud transcendents, descended from the demons. Those in the village at the foot of the mountains worshipped and honored them. Nevertheless, that all decayed with the end of the Tokugawa era. The black ships arrived. The era of the samurai ended. The era of national isolation ended, and the tradition of worshipping Onigafuchi village quickly disappeared. Those things that linger from the past were all too detested. That was the kind of era it became. The Meiji era began in the name of the Onigafuchi village. With its long history, was forcibly changed to the Hinamizawa village. I have heard that the Meiji government strongly wished to erase the old customs, the abolition. There we go. Of feudal domains and the establishment of prefectures. Okay. Abolish. Yeah, you know, valid to get rid of like old in with the new, but it's just like, yeah, I feel like some things definitely needed to go. Like this shit definitely needed to go. An era had begun, seeing Japan sprinting up the stairs that were bound beyond their means to try and reach the same level as the rest of the world. All things in the Western style were to be extolled, while all old traditional things were to be scorned. I think some things can stay, but some things definitely needed to go. That was the sort of era it was. Our ancestors in Onigafuchi village were proud descended from the demons. Onigafuchi village disappeared in a flash. At last, Japan, provoked by the great European powers, colonized countries in Asia one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power. Facts, yep. So that it could stand as a global power in its own right. Because, like, yeah, I mean, not like this era of Japan was any better, because, you know, Japan during this era, when they started colonizing places, bro, was also not great. Let's not forget about that. But it's also the fact that, like, you know, even before that, they were still on some freak deaker shit, bro. So it's like, yeah, we good to leave half of the shit in the past and not fucking do it again. Conscription began, and they won war after war. The first Sino-Japanese War and the Russo-Japanese War, and until the Pacific War broke out. Again, Japan did a lot of weird things in all these wars. Japan did a lot of weird things for a long time. They recklessly climbed the staircase towards modernization. At the time, Onigafuchi village had already lost its impenetrability. The villagers, once worshipped as transcendents, were now on the receiving end of inhuman treatment deserved. The sacred Onigafuchi village had been groundlessly labeled an isolated village of those afflicted with incurable diseases, a mere shadow of its former self, and stood on the precipice of an era of hardship. Kind of deserved, at least, you know, for the people that, like, you know, are adamant about it. Thus began harsh days where one would suffer unreasonable discrimination just because people knew one was from Onigafuchi. That's fucked up. But I mean, again, it's just like, you put it on to yourself, especially if you're like, you know, if you were adamant about these traditions, bro. The children in the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Hinamazawa because filthy germs were rampant there. Children who had come into contact with children in Hinamazawa would cry and wail as their parents purified the spot they were touched by rubbing salt on it. What? That's crazy. One of the adults said to the children that if you get lost in Hinamazawa, you would be kidnapped by demons, cut up into pieces, and devoured. Never, ever go near the terrifying village of man-eating demons. That's what he taught them. Another said that during a famine long ago, the people of Hinamazawa gathered up all the corpses they discarded into the dry riverbeds, then cooked and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in such seriousness. Yeah, if you say it enough, people might believe it. Baseless slander added to baseless slander, making Onigafuchi villages historically accurate, thrilling history all the more believable. Perhaps the chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of people's anxiety towards the uncertain times. Of course, the story didn't end only with the perspective of children. If anyone found out they were from you were from Onigafuchi, you would be turned down from any job you applied for. Shit. People would even go back on engagements and marriage proposals. As for the marriages, where one partner had lied about it, so as soon as the truth got out, they were made to divorce. Yeah, that's crazy, but that's how, again, that's how it be. It even caused trials. They would appeal that where one came from wasn't an important enough reason to divorce. They would, however, lose their case. Lying about one's birthplace apparently constitutes a heavy act of misrepresentation in marriage. That's terrible. I've heard about such discrimination towards those in small villages and civics class. Just because others knew you were from a tiny hamlet, you would be subjected to every societal disadvantage. There was a modern form of bullying. There's still a modern form of bullying that were done. Though I only memorized that because it was going to be on the test one time. I recalled being suspicious about it and unable to believe that such discrimination occurred in modern Japan. Buddy, that happens everywhere. Well, I suppose I can't say that I can't say that they weren't asking for it. Okay. Yeah, they weren't asking for it. Some of them weren't. Our ancestors were proud of their demon blood flowing through them. They lived their lives boasting about it and scorning those at the foot of the mountain, after all. Yeah. They struck fear into the villagers down there with their mystique and demanded gifts of dread and tribute. Alright. With that, Mion smiled for the first time, albeit in self-mockery. During the Pacific War, despite the slogans that all the country was acting as one, those from Hinamazawa continued to suffer all manner of discrimination. There were too many ways to count. They would send their husbands and sons to war, and the women on the home front would suffer greatly too. My grandmother remembers it well. She remembers it being a difficult time. Even that bitterly long war, however, finally ended in 1945. Hinamazawa had lost many male hands, but at last their fathers and husbands and sons returned to them. Of course, there were also many who didn't come back. Nevertheless, in Hinamazawa, who were at their limits, barely able to maintain the village without the men, their return was a very happy thing. Okay, what the fuck? MacArthur's GHQ set to work on drastically improving mindsets and strove for the abolition. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that word properly, but I know it is. I'm just gonna look it up. How to pronounce that fucking word properly. It's so much easier. I got Google for a reason. Cause I know what abolish is. That there's no way it's just abolish. Like that's what it fucking sounds, right? Cause like I know what it means. Hold on, my audio isn't on. Abolition. Whatever. Of unfair and discrimination. They could feel day breaking on the dismal night that was the previous era. Hinamazawa was on the verge of turning into a ghost town. Those in the village started to say that they should rebuild it once again and got to work trying to make the village even a little more plentiful. During that time, someone appeared who built up a fortune through the vast number of dealings in the black market. That was Mion's grandfather, the husband of the elderly current family leader, Sohei Sonozaki. Sohei said that he managed food warehouses in Harbin after being dispatched into the Chinese mainland. When it was time to pull out, he conspired with his superiors and comrades and stole a great deal of the army's canned goods. He hid them somewhere in the Seto Inland Sea and sold them wildly at a high price in the black market, thus earning a fortune. Sohei didn't spend that fortune for his own pleasure either. He entrusted the entire amount to his wife, the head of the Sonozaki house. Let's revive this ruined village. All who live here are our family, and this fortune is our collective property. So he proclaimed to my grandmother, the current head of the family. That vast fortune was a huge reason why Hinamazawa was revitalized after the war. I see. With that, Hinamazawa came back to life, and that's how the Sonozaki family had established its current prosperity. Of course, there were many people who begrudged the money coming from the black market, but the villagers no longer minded it. They succeeded at one business venture after another. Those who had succeeded freely supported those who followed them. The great family of Hinamazawa, tied together with strong bonds, kept on expanding its influence. The Sonozaki family, the center of everything, would be extolled for a long time as the minds behind. If only Matt was here. Hinamazawa's revitalization. Hold up. I'm about to send it to him just because I can. Damn. Wait, hold on. I'll just send it to him on Instagram, actually. There we go. All right. The person at the middle of all of it was your Nana Mion? That's amazing. What a great success. Mion looked at like she was honestly happy Rena had praised her. However, around 1955, the wind started blowing in another direction again. Because of the canned flesh incident. Canned flesh. It sounded so hideous that just hearing it made me nauseous. Someone naming himself as my grandfather Sohei Sonozaki's superior confessed that those canned goods had been human flesh. Hinamazawa, a village in which demons lived that ate humans. They were just about to wipe away that cursed stigma. The light they had finally started to see in their peaceful lives grew hazy and disappeared. The shocking truth, as revealed by his former superior, the stolen provisions from the old Japanese army that had been a huge cornerstone of Hinamazawa's revival, had been canned human flesh. Why were there cans like that? Wasn't Sohei just a manager of the food warehouses? His superior revealed that Sohei Sonozaki did not have a job of managing the food. In reality, Sohei's job during the war had been to exterminate pestilence, mice, and to transport the corpses of those with infectious diseases. It had been unfair treatment, and all because of the lowliness of his origins. As a result, though, he had returned safely without having been sent to the front lines or before detained. Perhaps that was the only fortunate thing to happen to him. Damn, we're getting a fuck ton of exposition right now. Holy fuck. Finally, Sohei was enlisted as an assistant at the military medical institution. There, however, he found something even worse than a low scorn depression customs of Onigafuchi village in the research they were carrying out. Could that have been? Well, you know, the bacteriologic, oh my god. Bacteriological, there we go. Corps in the old Japanese army or whatever. Keiichi, you've heard of that? What could it be? I was pretty sure it was Unit 731. It was a nightmare unit that devoted itself to researching terrifying bacteriological weapons to break the deadlock in the war. They used many innocent people as fodder for human experiments, for horrible human experiments. They methodically observed how many days a new strain would take to kill the victims. How many days it would be when injected, how many days it would have been when swallowed. They dissected many people to find that out. Sometimes they wouldn't bother waiting until they were dead and dissected them while they were still alive. They would strap them into centrifuges while still alive and crush them in decomposition chambers while still alive. Yo, dog, why are we learning all this shit, man? Holy fuck. When the live human decompresses, all the holes in their body get pushed outwards, and their intestines get pushed out of their anus like a snake winding out of it. Why are we learning this? I have a feeling I saw something like that in a documentary one time. That makes me sick. And they still hate Hinamizawa, huh? You said it. Mion agreed with me, giving a faint, sad smile. Again. We're here to learn why you're murking everybody, not because of your fucking dad working with some scientific group that were pieces of garbage. Like, okay. It wasn't much in the way of communication, but for some reason I was happy to have it right now. The unit Sohei was in did way kinder research than that. They were researching concrete methods for reducing the difficulty of delivering food on the battlefield. The military designs at the start of the war completely fell apart, and the chronic food shortage broke out all over the battlefront. The food shortage led to malnutrition, and as their natural resistances lowered, the soldiers fell to one disease after another. Spirit and morale lowered as well. They wouldn't be able to maintain their forces at this rate. Apparently, that's where the research started. Oh my god. At first, it was to find methods of delivering food to battlefields. It was very broad and included things like from violent methods, like stealing it from citizens, to survival methods, like how to cook unfamiliar insects and plant life. I'm back, yo. As they were working out the details, they kept straying off course and going out of control until finally they knocked down the door called Taboo. What do you think the easiest source of protein on the battlefield was? Rena and I knew the answer without being told, so we didn't have to answer. That's right. They were researching ways of handling using humans as food. Fighting onwards, sometimes eating the flesh of enemies and sometimes that of allies, became the ultimate service paid to their country. They were deathly serious about this doctrine. It really is a riot. My grandfather was despised as someone who ate human flesh, and yet they had gone above and beyond that. Apparently, he always thought about it too. Even if he was a vulgar man-eating demon, they were far from ugly demons than he. They were far ugly demons than he. So no matter how much he was scorned, he wouldn't put up with it. At last, they had a handful of test prototypes. When the soldiers learned it was human flesh, however, the scientists couldn't make anyone eat it. So it was apparently sent to the front lines. This is so fucking annoying. Can we go something else? Can we talk about something else, please? So it was apparently sent to the front lines. The cans were labeled meat substitutes, and so that they wouldn't accidentally eat it themselves, they stamped the bottoms with a circle. The starved soldiers on the front lines apparently loved all the prototypes that they were sent. Among them, those who cooked it in soy sauce like it was sukiyaki loved it the most. Oh my god! Come on, Mion, stop! I'm getting sick of to my stomach. Rena really was pale-faced, and she looked like she was having difficulty continuing to sit on her knees. Mion looked like she had a bit more to say, but she sighed lightly and stopped there. Then, those canned goods your grandpa brought back? I don't know if it's true. Sohei denied if it was human flesh up until the day he died. However, those who begrudged Hinamizawa's sudden revival called him a savage for making a fortune from selling human flesh, and the villagers began to be scorned again. They returned to the time where children would be jeered at and have rocks thrown at them. Oh my god. The stifling silence came back. What a seriously hopeless and sad story it was. They were discriminated against, and were discriminated against. Okay. Why must they attach worth and rank to it? Why can't they just live without looking down on people? Wow, we're getting so fucking philosophical now, bro. Fuck. Why can't everyone enjoy life together? Yeah, because that's not how it fucking works. I didn't know. My grandmother, the family head, once told the children of the village this. If they throw a stone at one of you, then two of you must throw stones back. The children asked her, what if they threw stones at two of us? Of course, the answer was simple. If they throw stones at two of you, throw them back with 4. If they chase 8 of you with sticks, drive them off with 16. If they slander 30 of you, yell back with 60. Finally, the children asked, what if we were attacked by 1,000 people? Even with an answer that was simple. If 1,000 people attack you, then everyone in Hinamizawa will stand up against them. It was a manifesto to spur people into action. My grandmother rose up not only as the leader of Sonozaki house, but as a mother of Hinamizawa. It was halfway through 1955. It was a time when riots over the treaty with the U.S. were rampant, a time of battle and action. The people of Hinamizawa joined together and fought, treating unfair discrimination towards one as a crime against them all. Okay. It didn't matter that one was a child or an adult. If they heard that a child had been told off, then everyone in the crowd would crowd the house of the perpetrator, acting as a whole. Damn. If they heard an adult had been treated unfairly, men and women, young and old, would all band together and stand up against it. If you meddled with the people of Hinamizawa, you were in trouble. They probably figured that if they could make others think that, they'd win. Keiichi, do you remember how many people came to help you when you got involved with those delinquents in town? Yeah, I fucking remember that, bro. We're calling back to that. Yeah, I get it. I recalled how much of an impression it had left on me. That the people of Hinamizawa boldly came to my rescue, yet the people of Okinawa averted their eyes as they wouldn't get involved. My grandmother fought, and my parents carried on the fight. At least, peace returned to Hinamizawa. Of course, that peace had been placed at a razor's edge. When you consider the previous 100 years of history, the tranquility now can only be called a chance interval standing on uneven scales. Why? Could I really have an opinion on such a long and difficult history when I hadn't moved here for more than a year ago? More than a year ago? Yet I said it anyways. Why can't everyone just live in peace? Jesus Christ. Holy fuck, bro. What happened to those old stories of Oyashiro-sama that I heard from Takino? Man and demon joined hands and lived together in harmony. Didn't Oyashiro remain in this world to watch over that? It's a fairy tale. I mean, that even if those people and the demons were real, the Oyashiro-sama who mediated between them wasn't. Is that why Oyashiro-sama's curse happens? A cool gust of wind blows in from outside, fluttering Mion's long, beautifully clear hair. Mion kept her refreshing smile without answering and didn't even change her expression, but even that became a silent answer. So that Hinamizawa village might once more be like Onigafuchi village, so that we may again be a sacred existence worthy of worship. That was the earnest wish of our ancestors in Onigafuchi and the mission of those who inherit the demon in the Sonozaki main family. Those who inherit the demon? For generations, the Sonozaki has had a custom of including the character of demon in the leaders' names. I don't even know, to be honest. How far I am in Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Yotei. If you write out my name on your hand, it should appear plain as day. I traced the word Mion in the palm of my hand. Oh, she's right. The character for demon is in there. Not only in my name either. The demon is engraved on my body as well. When she said that, she quietly rose and began to lay her hand on her clothing. It's okay, Mion. You don't need to show us, okay? Thank you. With just that exchange, I guess what she meant. Most likely, somewhere on her body, there was a permanent seal, such as a tattoo or marking, that proved that she inherited the demon. Mion didn't sit back down. She smoothly opened the paper door onto the porch. A refreshing breeze began to cleanse the damp air filling the room. Mion quietly gazed out at the wide yard for quite a while. On her shoulders was something I could never imagine the normal Mion carrying. It was a heavy, truly heavy history of Hinamizawa. No, of Onigafuchi weighing down on them. What kind of words could I possibly say to Mion like that? Rena wasn't saying anything either. Only the voices of the cicadas drowned out the silence. At last, after a long period of nothing, Mion murmured. The serial incidents happening over the last 5 years. I was directly related to some of them, and indirectly to others. Some were not the Sonozaki family, but were rather related to the others, the Kimiyoshi family and the Furude family. I think I was at the center of all of them. She said it all without turning around, with her back to us. At some point, her tone of voice had gone back to the Mion we knew. I have faith in what I've done and don't feel any guilt. If I did, perhaps it would be what I will have to leave the stage before the heir is decided. If I am caught and tried in a court of law, then I suppose that's how it works nowadays. Being able to retire with Hinamizawa at the most peaceful it's been in 100 years could be the happiest thing that's ever happened to any of the Sonozaki leaders for the past generations. If you're caught. Mion leaned a shoulder against the paper door, then slid down it and flopped to the ground. It was an act of such resignation that just seeing it made me hurt inside. The numerous terrible crimes Mion had been a part of suddenly began to fade from my mind. Hey Mion, I don't care what happens after this. Can't you just try to struggle as much as you can and try to run away? As soon as I began to think that way, Rena's ringing voice filled the room. But Rika and Sadako, you killed them, didn't you, Mion? The sharp points of her words stabbed into my chest despite not being directly at me. I'm not saying that it's okay if you killed other people. Regardless, Mion, you killed Rika and Sadako, didn't you? Rena's words were more biting than any I had ever heard. You finished the Snake and Oni and Kitsune route? Sick. Even now that I knew all the heavy history pressing down on Mion's shoulders, she had criticized her for killing our friends. Just as I bear the duty of the Sonozaki family, Rika bore the duty of the Furude family. That duty was to protect the ritual storehouse. My chest tightened. I learned around last year that Rika had said something about it. The bars in the storehouse door were too heavy for her, and she wanted to change them to a simpler lock and key. Even the priest before her had complained about it being heavy. He was very aware of how hard it was for Rika. I will make sure to guard it, so I want to replace the lock with something lighter. I replied on behalf of the Sonozaki family leader. Ever since the string of freak deaths related incidents, there seemed to be people who were insolent towards Oyashiro-sama, so you shouldn't replace the lock with a simpler one. That said, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family, Old Man Kimiyoshi, if it's that difficult for you, Rika, then I think it's okay to replace the lock, he said. The fact that the very fact that it was locked with a key was an indication of it being somewhere you mustn't enter. There's nobody bad enough to break through and go inside, he said. Even if we were alike as leaders, I couldn't find it in me to argue with the Old Man Kimiyoshi since I owed him I owed him so much. In the end, we decided to change out the lock on the storehouse and switch it to a really cheap and light padlock. Old man, is this really alright? Nana says that if possible, we should keep the lock the same. It'll be alright. You're quite the worrywart. If something happens, this old man will take all responsibility. Do you promise? Do you mean that you will take responsibility as the leader of the Kimiyoshi family? Right? You should be well aware of how sacred the things inside really are. It's okay. There aren't any bad cats in Hinamizawa who would open the lock and break it. Meow meow. Oh. Sobs escaped her from my mouth. Something hot and wet dripped down in spades and fell into the tatami mat. I had already heard of the thieves entering the ritual storehouse during the Watanagashi festival. There were 4 of them. We decided to act within the day. At the same time, we needed to demand that the ones who allowed the thieves to break in, Rika and of the Furude clan or Furude family, and the Old Man Kimiyoshi take responsibility. Damn. My tears dripped and dropped. Until just now, I had decided that it was Mion's fault and that she killed Rika and the others. That was wrong. The one who killed them wasn't Mion, it was me. I might as well have killed them. Keiichi, I had a chance to stop this tragedy from happening, and yet I didn't. Cheap curiosity got the better of me, and I didn't. If at the time I had stopped us from sneaking into the ritual storehouse, Rika and the others wouldn't have had to die. If I had, then nothing would have happened. We would be spending our days having lots of fun like we always did. I was an idiot. If by shedding tears I could take it all back, then I would have filled up the room with them. However, such a meager act wouldn't be enough to redeem myself for the crime I've committed. Keiichi, you're not at fault. Mion gently began to speak to me, as if trying to reason with me. As the leader of the Sonozaki family, I needed to act. But given the history of the Sonozaki family, thinking about it now, it's no big deal. Maybe I should have saved my friends, even if it meant casting all that aside. I yielded to it, and that's why I killed those 2. I, Mion Sonozaki, and nobody else killed them. I had hundreds of chances to stop it, but I didn't stop. I gave in to the easy role that was handed to me and abandoned all thought of fighting for my friends. So, This is my crime. I killed them. Mion Sonozaki, with these hands, killed them, and nothing whatsoever changed. Nothing. Her masochistic laughter was sad, especially because Mion boasted in club that she would turn the tables on whatever predicaments presented themselves. It was so painful. Still, Mion, you saved one person of your own volition. Eh? As I looked at her at surprise, Rena stuck her finger right at my forehead. You left Keiichi alive. As strong as you are, Mion, it would have been hard. It would have been no trouble for you, but you didn't kill him. Bitch about this. Yo, bitch about to be like, oh, you're right. And then fucking kill him, bro. That's what he's about to do. That's what she's about to do. That's right. Keiichi about to die at the end of this regardless. Mion was so cunning that nobody could stand up to her, even in our club. If she had seriously tried to kill me, I would have been dealt with on the very first night. So many people had been sacrificed, but I was always left out in the cold. When did I first realize it? Even though people were disappearing one after another, for some reason I had this vague belief that I would be left alive. Why didn't I kill him? As a demon, I can't begin to guess. Maybe Mion had some reason she didn't want to kill you. What is that supposed to mean? Mion put a finger to her lips to say that Rena didn't need to talk. Is Oishi waiting outside? Yes. Any way out? No. They said they have the place surrounded. It seemed like they called a lot of cars over the radio. I think they have your entire property surrounded. Mion fell silent. Rena's merciless words felt cruel, but they weren't meant to be. Maybe they were trying to lessen her good friend's pain. If only by a little bit. Maybe they were considerate, like she was trying to help. Please, turn yourself in. Mion didn't open her mouth, but she smiled just a little. We'll go with you. We'll never leave a friend by herself. Crying children and Rena are the only things I can't beat. She rose, scratching her head. Her face and had returned entirely to that of the usual Mion. I'm well aware of how serious my own crimes are. Even if they accept me turning myself in, I'll probably never be able to come back here. Yeah, I couldn't say anything. The number of deaths Mion was involved in was just too large. Yeah, it was like 10 or something like that. I don't know. I didn't fucking read that. So much so that maybe recommending that she turn herself in was in a way extremely cruel. Hold up, I could have just done this. Yeah, so much so that turning herself away was in a way of extremely cruel. Yep, I said that. I once again did not fucking read that. So I'd like you to hear one last selfish request. What is it? 30 minutes is fine. Just let me have some alone time with Keiichi. No! 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 Whoa, whoa, no! No, 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 no. No, no, no. Don't. No. 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 30 minutes is a lot of time. No. No, 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 no. Whoa, no, 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 no. Huh? My name suddenly came up and it looked like I was the only one surprised about that. Keiichi, is that okay with you? If you don't want it to, then I won't make you. Dog, no. No. Be smart and say no. Please be smart and say no. You're right. It's okay if you don't want to. After all, I'm a demon. And Keiichi is a bona fide human who moved here from somewhere else. For us to be compatible, as long as Oyashiro-sama doesn't exist to mediate, simply isn't impossible. Or simply isn't possible. There was no reason for me to hesitate. Mion had been engulfed by heavy impossible tradition. Right now, the duty of handling this had fallen to me and me alone. In fact, with me cornered, it would only been okay for her to blame me. However, Mion didn't say a word of blame Far from it. I was guilty of the same crime, and she let me go. Please, bro, do not spend 30 minutes alone with this lady I swear, bro, I'm gonna get mad if he does. Amidst the fate she could not oppose, she saved me alone. I didn't know whether I should be thankful or not. Thinking upon it now, I didn't know how much easier it would be if I were to be granted the same punishment as Rika and the others. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had an equal duty to bear the sins that Mion shouldered. So when it came to Mion's last request, there was no reason for me to hesitate. No, she's gonna kill you. She's gonna kill you, nigga. Oh my god, bro. Sure. It's fine. Thank you. This is a fucking terrible idea. I'd like to thank you too, Keiichi. Rena stood up. It looked like she would keep her promise with Mion and leave. It's fine, Rena. You can wait right here. I just want to go around the yard with Keiichi. If you're bored, you can go to my room. You can read any manga you like. If there are any volumes you like, you might as well take them. I don't want to. Mion's book belonged to Mion. Rena couldn't bring them back home with her so freely. You're such a good kid, only at times like this. Mion took Rena's head and rubbed it violently like she always did. Okay, let's go, Keiichi. This is so fucking bad. I began to walk after Mion and headed to the hallway when Rena silently stopped me. Take care of Mion. That's a fucking terrible, bro. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I'm reading right now. Yeah. Mion really does believe she won't ever be able to come back. I don't know about much about laws, but with as many deaths as she's been involved with, the chances of her escaping a heavy punishment seem non-existent. Watch out so you don't make her lose her temper, okay? Mion might not surrender herself to justice, so I might have to put an end to it myself. Rena had already thought that far ahead. Right. I won't let it happen. Rena rubbed her tears, which had fallen without me noticing them. Okay, then, go after. I noticed and I nodded and followed Mion, who had disappeared out the door. I could clearly hear Rena sobbing from the other side of the paper door. Why was Mion made the successor to demons? Maybe it just had to happen that way. But it's just so awful. Something hot burned down my cheeks. They were tears. They were my tears. I fiercely wiped them away. Okay, this was the last of my time I could offer Mion, so I absolutely didn't want to let her see my tears during it. Mion was already waiting outside the door. I put on my shoes, tapped my toes against the floor a few times, and left. And Mion timidly came over. Why is she turning all red at a time like this? Can I hold your arm? No. Don't touch me. Don't touch me, bitch. Don't touch me, bro. No. I hate that he's doing this. I hate with a fucking passion that he's doing this. It was such a modest request. I don't mind. With my permission, her face lit up with glee like a child being given a toy and took my arm. Do you mind, do you get kind of nervous with my arm around mine? You're not thinking, for example, that I suddenly put you into a world-class joint lock or anything. You two say the same things. I don't think that at all. Back then, nothing had gone wrong yet. During those nostalgic days of the bustling commotion at Angel Mort, I counted back and was amazed. It had only been a week. I had been arm in arm with Shion then too. Linking arms with Mion like this really reminded me that they were twins. How much strength they put into it, the sensation of their arms, their warmth, and their blood flowing through, the blood flowing. I could feel that their living sensations were all exactly the same. I think Shion liked you, Keiichi. I see. If this was a regular conversation, I might have jumped back right in the face. Right now, though, no matter what I heard, my mind remained at peace. Mion and Shion, you get along well, didn't you? Well, I wonder. Keiichi, do you think your right hand or left hand... Do you think your right and left hand get along? Huh? My right hand and left hand? I don't think you can describe them as getting along or not. That's how our relationship is. You can't measure it by the scale of how well we get along. That didn't sound like it meant they got along very well. For example, one of your hands is dominant, so there will always be a better hand. Okay. If you only had one other mitt, you would put it on your more dominant hand without thinking, right? I think maybe it was the same way for us. Then doesn't that mean, though, that anyone would be okay with losing their left hand? It's that kind of unexplainable relationship. Weird. I think that maybe you lived too close together and just stopped being able to see it, but I think that means you get along really well. I'm an only child, so the day before the festival, I was really jealous when you and Shion were messing around with each other. I think you're jealous of something that doesn't exist. Yes, we twins used to have a lot of fun playing tricks on people, but now that we have such distinctly different personalities, it gets in the way. Were they cursed or were they self-conscious? Their relationship was hard to understand for an outsider. Maybe that wasn't an issue someone like me should intrude on. Just saying silent and nodding gently was the best way to advance the conversation. Mion passed through the wide yard and invited me into the big, desolate forest we'd seen on the way in. No? Such a big forest was a part of their property, so I couldn't help but feel small. It's huge. You must have had a great time playing in it as kids, huh? Mion seemed to be silently reminiscing. I couldn't look into her mind, but she was probably thinking back to those fun days when they played as sisters without any antagonism. Every time the wind blew, it caressed the treetops and the leaves, making a swishing, murmuring sound. Mion remained silent for a long time, thinking back on her younger sister, whom she had gotten rid of with her own hands. There was no need for me to get a word in. Just walking like this, arm in arm, was enough. Mion suddenly stopped and turned. Shion is still alive. Really? Mion took a hard look into my eyes and then nodded quietly. Yeah. I'd been thinking to give her the most horrible death of all, so I had her locked up. I never did think of a good way to do it, though. Mion sounded as though she hated Shion, but also deep down she didn't completely detest her. So I took my other hand and rustled Mion's hair with it. Mion didn't only save me, she saved Mion too, or Shion too. Mion may have become a demon and led many people to their deaths, but she fought against it and was able to save 2 people. As I petted Mion, she narrowed her eyes in an entranced smile and untangled her arm from mine. Then Mion quietly said, "Come with me. I want you to see all of my sins." Although, Keiichi, it might be the worst thing you've ever seen. Oh, brother. I could sense it. There I would probably find all the sacrifices up until now. Looking at them would mean accepting Rika and Sadako's deaths, as well as accepting that my best friend had done it. It's already happened, and it's in the past. You can choose not to look, Keiichi. If you don't want to, then wait here. I will personally end everything. I was taken aback by how ominous that sounded. I remember when Rena told me Mion might not surrender herself to justice, but instead choose to put an end to things to herself. I couldn't leave her on her own. Besides, I agreed to her last request, didn't I? Ha ha ha. Even if it was hard for me to accept, I'll still do it. Even if I avoided looking, it was something that had already happened. It doesn't matter what I see. Yes? Mion Sodazaki is the best friend I could have ever had. That won't change. It never will. The tree tops softly swayed in the wind. You and Ren both. Why do you only get really cool at times like this? Normally I say something rude back at her, evading the question, but today I didn't. I just answered with a smile. At last, Mion started walking into the thick forest, into the deepest part. After following a thin path that looked like an animal trail for a while, we finally came across a steep incline with a tunnel that reminded me of a coal mine or bomb shelter. We were surrounded by shallow hills. It had been created in a spot not visible from the outside. There were many silhouettes of crows in the trees here and there. The abnormal odor I'd been smelling for a while was doubtlessly escaping from inside this place. If you want to turn back, now's your chance. I don't know what kind of person Mion Sonozaki is to you, but if you go inside, that Mion will probably... Shion won't change. Or she won't change. I'll say it as many times as I need to. Mion Sonozaki is the best friend I could have ever had. I clenched my fist. Inside there was probably a sight beyond anything I could ever imagine. If I let down my guard, I might end up vomiting. Even so, I'll endure it. I'll overcome the pain and this suffering. It will never change, and that Mion is my greatest friend. I am nothing more than a demon, so I don't understand human feelings anymore. I have a feeling, though, that I know why Mion fell in love with you. Don't say that like it's not related to you. You're Mion. You're not a demon. You're a human with human blood, and you're my friend. Mion made a gesture like she was wiping tears from her eyes, then placed a hand on the big door to the tunnel entrance. The lock on it was dauntingly strong looking. It seemed to demand the appropriate resolution from whoever would enter, just like the ritual storehouse. When the double doors opened, a stifling rotten air and a bunch of winged insects came rushing out. I remembered accidentally killing a hermit crab a long time ago by having its tank out on the porch, and how intense the odor was then. It left was. This is bad. If that was the smell of a corpse, then that's certainly what it smelled like. Inside, it was pitch black, but Mion flicked a switch and turned on a light bulb, illuminating the interior. The path turned into a series of intricate wooden tunnels. We passed spaces that seemed like they were for storage. We passed places that looked like someone had lived there. All this indicated that it had been used as a bomb shelter and stockpile during the war. It didn't give off the impression of a dug-out bomb shelter that had just been left there, though there was a sense of dignity, as though this were a second Sonozaki house constructed underground. Despite being in pitch black darkness below the ground, the voices of the cicadas were entering through an air hole somewhere, giving it a very mysterious feel. You saw what was in the ritual storehouse, right? The piles of torture instruments. All of them were created to uphold strict religious laws of Onigafuchi village. They were tools used to kill those who broke the laws in terrible ways as a warning to others. That's a long time ago. Watan Dagashi, originally a ritual meant as a deterrent, was once overseen by the three families, but thanks to the Kimiyoshi, and Furude families going into decline, the way the times have changed, actually carrying it out became more difficult. I see. I can imagine why. You'd never think people could be okay with drowning people in a swamp and killing them in modern Japan. That's why the Sonozaki family built this. A secret place so that we can continue to conduct the rite of Watan Nagashi even in modern times. Oh. Mion opened a large, strikingly different door, and inside was none other than a modern storehouse for ritual implements. There's quite a few, isn't there? Some of them were actually brought here from the original storehouse. All of the things there had been rusty and covered in dust, so they didn't seem that real. but the things in here are different. Every one of them had been well maintained and kept in a state that they could be used right away. Blades gleamed and spikes were sharpened. Also, perhaps as a precaution for the splatter of blood, there were the walls and ceilings were covered in a kind of tiling that you would see in bathrooms, and there was a drain set amidst a slight slope in the floor. Okay, I see. There was also a coiled rubber hose along the wall attached to the faucet, perhaps for cleaning up on splattered blood, cleaning up on it. According to something a leader from a long time ago wrote, blood splatter was has impact despite the fact that it doesn't tax the sacrifice. Watan Nagashi was meant as a deterrent after all. My ancestors thought up all different kinds of things to show off. As she said that, Mion pointed deeper into the torture room to a spot veiled in darkness. There was surprisingly a room filled with tatami mats, and in the corner was a pile of cushions. There's seats for the audience. Watan Nagashi was meant as a deterrent after all. It wouldn't make sense if there were no guests. I couldn't speak, and I couldn't think of anything else to say. Except that if Mion revealing all this to me made her heart feel any lighter, then I was prepared to listen to for as long as I needed to. Right here is where I killed everyone. There was no spectators to watch me, but I did the Watan Nagashi very well. Well, perhaps there was one spectator. Huh? A spectator? Me. I, the demon, was watching the entire time. Mion held the Watan Nagashi ceremony. Mion cackled in self-deprecation. It wasn't a nice sounding laugh. Back there is the prison. Is Shion there? She nodded slightly. Mion's Watan Nagashi had ended the day. I needed to tell Shion that I was safe without a moment's delay. After all, she was probably trembling in fear at this very moment, worrying about what she would when she would be killed. Nah, she's not there. Come on. The ostentatious door on the other side opened, revealing what must have been an incredibly expensive space based on the echo it made. Expansive space. Mion groped around in the darkness, and a handful of naked light bulbs came out here and there. My eyes adjusted more and more to the great cave showed itself in a faint light. The walls were bare rock surface, and it felt so savage that bomb shelter was the most apt term for it. There were small barred rooms built here and there like holes made by insects biting their way through the giant piece of fruit. Okay. It was immediately clear that each one of them was a prison. Okay. Where is everyone? Rika and Sadako? Their corpses? I grimaced at her, having said it out so outright. Yeah, that's right. The poor things being left here in the dark like this. I didn't want them to get infested with bugs, so I threw them down the well. I'm sorry. Okay. So I can't even see their faces in death. Once again, my feelings of regret having confessed everything to Rika came surging forth. If Mion hadn't attached the word sorry to the end of what she said, I might have punched her. Calm down, Keishi Maebara. You said it yourself, no matter what, Mion Sonozaki is your greatest friend. Yeah, my greatest friend. I needed to hear myself say it out loud. Then came the clattering of bars on one of the cells deeper in. When I noticed it, I looked up as well. Shion? Is that Shion? Keiichi? Is that you, Keiichi? I ran over to the cell. White hands were peeking out through the gaps in the bars. It really was her. Are you all right, Shion? Are you hurt? No. No! Shion's face twisted out of a sharp as she screamed. It was because Mion appeared right behind me. Of course, Shion hadn't known that everything was over yet. Calm down, Shion. Everything is already over. Everything. I spoke in a calm voice as I could manage to try and soothe the agitated Shion. However, it didn't seem like it was getting through to her screams. Shion, how have you been? No more, please. No more. I don't want to see anyone else die. If you hate me, then just kill me already. I'm the one you hate, right? Kill me right now. Sis! Calm down, Shion. It's all over now. It's going to be all right. Yeah, you say that while she's right in front of you. Or right in front of her. So calm down. Shion, who was screaming and rattling the iron bars back and forth, was truly in a frantic state. I gave a slight shrug of resignation, giving way to Mion. I'd realized that if Mion was the one who locked her in here, and if Mion was the one who had scared Mion to this point, or Shion to this point, then Mion was also the one who could put an end to all this. Mion spoke from over my shoulder quietly. Relax. I won't kill you. No, I won't kill you just yet. She burst out in a bizarre laugh as if trying to make Shion's madness even worse. Shion broke out in a fierce shiver brought on by that laugh and rattled the iron bars as she wailed, "Please stop! Don't kill Keiichi! Keiichi has nothing to do with this, does he? If you're going to kill someone, kill me right now! I don't want anyone else to die!" If you want to die that badly, then after I've killed this man, I'll take my time making mincemeat out of you. In accordance with the ancient rites, I'll do it slowly, starting with your extremities. I'll shave you down and mince you. I had the mincing machine set up specifically for you, after all. Or would it be funnier if I were to mince up Keiichi in front of you? Hey, quit it already. What do you have to gain by scaring her at this point? No! Keiichi, run away! I tried to rebuke Mion for flinging terrible words at her this late in the game, but when I turned around, Mion's mouth, so much so that it was hard to believe, had twisted into a shape even thinner than a crescent moon. It was a smile. I could sense it. I can sense it like a jolt of electricity. This person here wasn't my best friend, Mion. It wasn't Mion Sonozaki, who had been tossed about by her heavy duty of succeeding the Sonozaki family either. Then, who was she? But bam! I saw sparks flying before my eyes like that. When, like what happens when you get hit in the back of the head. The strength of my body drained instantly and my head suddenly became heavy. My knees buckled under the temptation and hit the floor. Then my whole body abruptly collapsed. See, dumbass idea to come over here. My face should have hit the floor, but it was comfortable, as if I had fallen down on a down-filled futon. My consciousness reeled, then receded. It was a kind of sensation like if you took a nap in a car, but you were still half awake and could listen to your parents talking as if they were far away. No, you wouldn't be listening. You would only be hearing it. It was happening so far away, and the conversation was completely unrelated to you, so you had no interest in it. So whether Shion was yelling in my ears or Mion was in vulgar hysterics, I didn't think it annoying, nor did it interest me. Now that I wonder how I should go about preparing you. Oh yes. What do you think of a bed of nails? I tested it on those two little brats, but their hands were too small for the restraining table. Let's do it. Let's do that. Let's do that. Mion held me up from behind and dragged me across the floor. The soles of my feet scraped on it, and one of my shoes fell off. No, please stop, sis. Please stop. Shion's emotion exploded outward, and she burst into bitter weeping. As her crying had whetted Mion's interest, she had flung me down and returned to the prison cell again. Ma, you sure can cry with a cute voice, can't you? Your unnatural bravado was making my skin crawl, but this definitely suits you the best. Mion, my big sister, I beg you. I don't care how you choose to kill me, but please at least let Keiichi go. I'm begging you. Shion had always acted as though she were a cut above her older sister. That Shion in such a miserable voice that I couldn't even have imagined it during those peaceful times. Prostrated herself before the older sister she used to scoff at and pleaded forgiveness. Mion looked down with an expression of cool indifference, one that was plainly smiling with joy. You know I wasn't planning on listening to your petty wishes. The way you're crying though, it was too funny. I think maybe I'll change my mind and listen to you. Since come to think of it, I never did anything big sister like for you. Yes. Thank you so much. All right then. Let's hear you apologize for everything. Then maybe I'll let it all be water under the bridge. And maybe, just maybe, I'll let Keiichi go. Mion said she might let me go, but she never said anything about letting Shion go. Before long, Shion had her hands on her knees behind the bars and began to speak weak words of apology. They were too faint for me to hear, but their intentions got across. Despite having watched her with a magnificently jubilant expression, Mion kicked the bars and declared that she was unsatisfied. You think you can make up for years of grudges and hard feelings like that? Jeez, we're still going. They're on 2 hours now. Holy fuck. That just will not do. I guess I'll make mincemeat out of both. No! Wait, sis! One more chance! Just one more chance, please! Mion stopped and waved her hand again in resignation. Not because she had grown impatient, but only because she was taking the light in abusing Shion. You can't apologize to me to my satisfaction anyway. I'll teach you how to make an apology that will get through to your older sister. I'm going to tell you once again. And if you don't, I'm going to tell you once, and if you get even a little letter wrong, you're out. Got it? Yes. Thank you, sis. Shion's miserable voice cried out, having become utterly hoarse. The sensation tearing through my chest returned a little at a time. I realized I was feeling the feelings of anger bubbled up. I was slowly regaining control of my body. However, I was unable to feel my skin and my blood flowing at the moment. I still couldn't voluntarily move my fingers. Did you memorize it? Then let's hear you say it. Sincerely and faithfully, from the beginning to the end, with all your heart. If you can do it properly, then I'll only kill you. Yes. Thank you so much. That's weird. Something was strange. Something had become strange at some point. Until just a few moments ago, I was sure that this had been Mion, but at some point, she had become someone else. The Mion I knew well would never do something nasty like enjoy trampling all over someone's dignity like this. Now, let's hear it. Your big sister is listening closely. Shion Sonozaki is... When I ran over to Shion's cell earlier, had the real thing been swapped out with the fake right behind me? Anyway, this couldn't possibly be Mion. Ooh. Shion Sonozaki is a lowly, worthless sow, not fit to even lick her big sister's shoes, but her big sister Mion's feet. And when I think of the countless times I've been rude to my big sister without knowing my place, yes, that's the spirit. I'll permit you to say a little more now, okay? Blood curdling through my whole body. My numbed senses were returning. Just a little bit more. While Shion is still holding Mion's... No, that thing pretending to be Mion's attention. Hurry up. I reflect on how impertinent I've been and swear loyalty to my big sister for the rest of my life. So, Mion's burst of laughter echoed through the big cave, growing into a terrifying level. That was not the laugh of someone who was alive in this world. It was none other than the laugh of a demon from the bowels of the earth. She laughed from the stomach until she grew tired of it and stopped smiling suddenly, as if snipping a wire. All right, already. That was funny enough for me. I didn't think you'd throw away that much of your pride. That was plenty enjoyable. Mion began to drag me again after I finally got the feeling of my body back and pulled me towards the torture chamber. Sis! Only kill me! Please, forgive him! Don't worry, alright. I'll be sure to kill you real good. After letting you get an earful of Keiichi's screams, that is. No! After dragging me to the torture chamber, she skillfully strapped me into the restraining table. Before I knew it, I was sprawled out and beyond. She forced open my hands, with which I couldn't even make a satisfying fist. I tightly restrained each one of my fingers. She fastened only my hands and my fingers at that, tightly with hinges and locked them in place. Sis, don't kill him! Sis! The door to the big cave with the jails had been left open, so I could hear Shion's cries of mortification the entire time. Can you hear it, Shion? I'm going to get started now. Please enjoy Keiichi's young screams. Give it a fucking rest. The feeling in my body returned, and the first action I took was to tell off that thing that looked like Mion. Awake at last, are we? I lied before, you know, about having wanted to give Shion the most miserable death of all, but locking her up was because I hadn't thought of a good way yet. That was a lie. Mion brought over something like a toolbox. From inside of it, she removed a large metal hammer. Next to that, she began to line up what looked like long, strangely shaped nails whose ends had been turned into hooks. Okay. Like the kind you would see on a harpoon. I let her hear the screams of all those people that died because of her. And after they've soaked in to her very soul, then I'll kill her. I've got a pretty good taste, huh? Who are you? Huh? I'm Mion Sodazaki. Has the fear driven you crazy? No, you're not. There's no way you could be Mion Sodazaki. Mion snorted and continued her preparations for the horrifying torture. I see. Then if I'm not Mion, who am I? A demon. Huh? You're not Mion. Mion was just here. Give her back, pussy. Keiichi, is your brain really doing okay? You're not going crazy from fear. Don't touch me, freak. You damn demon. Give her back. Give me all back. My best friend, give me all back. Okay. When Mion stood there for a few moments with her jaw hanging open, not having expected me to say that, I myself knew that I was about to go insane. I knew it was nonsense to demand Mion's return when she was right there in front of me, but this is the person in front of me couldn't possibly have been Mion. There was no way I could accept that. So this is what I thought. Mion had really been possessed by a demon and was controlling Mion as if it were a separate personality. Mion was just a victim being manipulated by it. The evil one was really this thing. It all had to be the doing of this demon possessing her. When Mion heard that, she started to guffaw, laughing so hysterically that she started to cough and almost choked. You really are a piece of work, you know that? In this very moment, no, it's not Shion. Mion Sodazaki is trying to kill you and you're trying to reject me? I never knew that there was such a funny person in all of the world. If you want to laugh, do it all you want. No matter what you say, though, I won't accept that you're Mion. Give her back. Chop, chop. Away with you, demon. Keiichi, are you trying to kill me by drowning me out with my tears? My own tears? No matter that, I wouldn't lose to the laughter of hers. I wouldn't lose to that laughter of hers. I shouted loudly. I shouted from the bottom of my heart so that the real Mion trapped inside the Mion I saw in front of me would be able to hear. You can do it, Mion. Don't lose to this piece of shit demon. You're strong. Show me how strong you are. The tears welled up and flooded down her face. Her hands were busy with the restraints, so she couldn't even wipe them, so she just let them flow. Please, Mion. Mion! Where did you lose to a demon like this? You're not that weak, are you? Don't lose. Fight! Fight! Mion desperately endured her laughing. Press one of the long nails to the tip of my finger, my left pinky. In her left hand was the hammer. Okay. At her side were dozens more nails. I could tell that she was about to do what she was about to do, though I wish I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't afford to be scared. that was why I shouted. My sides hurt like they're about to split. Is that all? I'm going to get started now. Be sure to give her some good screams. Not only am I torturing you, Keiichi, but I'm torturing Shion as well. Why? Why would you? Mion. Then I wept. Only sobs came out. Damn. Alright. Alright, hold on. I was moving something around. They weren't in acceptance of the torture, but about to be performed, however. Hold on. They were tears of regret that Mion had lost to the demon, yet a small change did occur in the Mion in front of me. Her heightened excitement was drained little by little. By the time I realized it, the one in front of me had returned to the being Mion. Keiichi, this may not be something pleasant to take to the grave with you. You really seem to want to know, though, so I'll let you I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if this was Mion or just a display of momentary humility or humanity the demon had recovered. A long time ago, before the demon came to live inside me, it was gnawing at my heart, trying to spur me to violence, but I suppressed it with my reason. That settled the demon down, and I got to thinking it had gone away somewhere. As it turned out, I was wrong. It hadn't left me. It had just gone to sleep. I noticed there were some tears forming in her eyes. The demon woke up again due to a certain small opportunity. What do you think that opportunity was? There was a sad yet reproachable light in Mion's eyes. Do you understand? I don't. I don't know who gave the demon the chance to beat Mion. This might be strange for me, a demon to say, but you're the reason that everything got so messed up. The tears welling in her eyes spilled downward on all of a sudden. At the time, if you had given that doll to me without hesitation... Now that shit pisses me off. You're telling me all of this. You doing all this just because you didn't get a fucking doll, bro. Whack, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe everything would have gotten so twisted. The doll I got. That doll I got when we had our club meeting at the toy store that Sunday. Such a stupid fucking reason. You probably can't understand. I wouldn't expect you to. But you see, all sorts of things started falling over like dominoes after that. And as soon as it was too much for me to control, it only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of knocking over the first one since it was so small, but you're the one who set it up. That can't be me? If you hadn't made Mion cry, then I wouldn't have had to wake up. Is that enough for you to die in peace? A mistake that I'd made on that day was what messed everything up? That can't be, can it? It only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of it. Even so, Keiichi, you are without a doubt the cause. Of course. If you had nonchalantly given me the doll that day, then I don't think this would have happened. So you're petty. Petty-ass reasoning, by the way. I wanted to say, like I just remembered something, as I recalled that day. Rena told me about that, and I thought I had apologized. I didn't apologize to Mion, though. It had been Shion. In other words, oh god. I hadn't said a single word of apology to Mion. Today I came to this house, saying I had something to apologize for, but I never said a word of apology about this. Come to think of it, when I apologized for going to the ritual storehouse, Mion looked a little bit lonely, like she was disappointed. Why didn't I realize that until just now? So fucking stupid. Rena told me at the time, and now she herself, no, the demon was telling me. It was the only way for a dense idiot like me to be cured, to die altogether. I can no longer hold back the hot tears from pouring out of me. I simply just cried and reflected indifferently on the taste of my tears, on the taste of regret. Can I start now then? This method of torture is very simple. I'll nail one of these into the joint on the end of your left pinky finger. Then I'll nail each in order until I get to your thumb. Then I'll go back to your pinky nail and then nail one into the joint to the middle. So on and so on until I hammer 15 nails into your left hand. When that's over with, I'll do your right hand next. After that, if you're still conscious, I'll tell you. There's a lot of nerves bundled in your fingertips, so it hurts far more than you can imagine. Some people apparently pass out before you finish hammering 13 nails. 30 nails into their hands, so... Mion pressed the tip of the nail to my left pinky finger. My wrist, my arms, and all my joints on my fingers were strapped so tightly, it hurt, and I couldn't even twitch. I didn't hesitate at all when I was torturing the others. Why do I hesitate now? If this will satisfy your demon, Mion, if it will sate the demon, then do to me what you will. Are you serious? Compared to how much I hurt Mion, this is nothing, right? Do as much as you want. In exchange, promise me 2 things. Mion was silent. She did, however, wait for me to speak. After you're satisfied with causing me pain, forgive Shion. She's been punished enough to make up for her crime of sneaking into the storehouse, hasn't she? You. After all this time, you still worry about Shion more than yourself. The other thing is that when you had your fill, you disappear. Give that body back to Mion. That's all. You know Are you not even considering possibly begging for your life or anything? Can I ask you to promise 3 things instead of 2? The third is to leave me alive. You said it 2 in the beginning, didn't you? So you can't have any more. That's a shame. In such an abnormal situation, Mion and I laughed quietly together, as if sharing in a stupid joke. If I probably won't keep these promises, understand? I'm a demon after all. I guess there's nothing I can do then. I recall tightening my hands into fist when I endured the pain at the dentist's office. Right now, though, they were opened all the way to my fingertips, so I couldn't even grip them. So instead, I tightened my toes. Okay, do it. I prepared myself already. So do it. You're waiting like this to hammer the nails in is scarier. It's going to diminish my readiness after all. Mion put down the hammer and gently stroked my cheek. Keiichi, I'll agree to just the 3rd thing, okay? Huh? My 3rd wish? To save me? She'll agree to it? Your 1st wish? To save Mion? That's long done for. The demon will kill her. It's already been decided, so I can't stop it. So give up on that. Her delicate fingers slid from my cheek to my chin. As for your 2nd wish, to give this body back to Mion, that won't happen either. After today, Mion will never come back. From the day on, even if my body is here, it will just be a body, because the Oni has taken it over. That isn't true. Mion is Mion. Don't say such sad things like that when you won't ever come back. Like that you won't ever come back. Can you hear it? That sound? Mion gently closed her eyes and listened. I definitely heard it as well. Slam! Slam! It was a dull noise that repeated at fixed intervals. A low noise accompanied by vibrations. A lot of people were ramming the iron doors to this underground ritual storehouse. You're late, so Rena probably called Oishi. That spaced out girl being so quick thinking was the one thing that I didn't anticipate. I'll agree with you there. Mion grinned like she'd been outwitted, then took something that looked like an electric razor out of her pocket. When she pressed the switch, pale blue sparks flew out with a snapping noise. You've probably never seen one before, right? It's a real stun gun. It's illegal, and its output has been increased quite a bit. Was that what you hit me with before? That's not a toy children should be playing with, you know. You're right. She seemed to want to use the stun gun on me. Unable to move, I felt her press the cold lump of metal to my neck. Slam! I heard a roar as though they'd broken down the first large door. The halls were a bit complex, but aside from the door, it was to this very torture chamber, there was nothing in their way. I won't kill you, but I will have to go to sleep for a bit, Keiichi. But you'll have to go to sleep for a bit. Oishi will be here soon. This will only hurt a bit. Feeling the same shock as before. Gritting my teeth wasn't going to help much, but I clenched them tightly anyway. However, just as she did, when she was about to hammer the nails in, she hesitated a little. I cracked open my tightly closed eyelids. I'm sorry for disgracing Mion. I made a promise before coming in here. Whatever happens, the Mion inside my heart won't change. Look, forget about that. If you ever see me after today, don't come near me. By then, it will be the demon that inherited my corpse. What are you talking about? Just as I tried to say that, as much stronger light than before shined out, and like a television being switched off, my consciousness went black. Yep. And she hit the dash. Wow. Still think the reasoning was petty. I think this one... I'll wait. June 1983. A string of disappearances occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone City, X Prefecture. The suspect is Mion Todazaki, something years old. She is suspected to have kidnapped 5 Hinamizawa residents between June 19th and June 21st. And yeah, all the people that, you know. Preliminary investigations on the incident were delayed at the time due to insufficient evidence. Yep. But it was resolved, coincidentally and shockingly, patrolling the Sosaki heard screams from inside and rushed in as an emergency measure. They secured the suspect's missing younger sister and her 2 missing classmates, Keiichi and Rena. Yep, okay. Deep in the detached basement in the Sonozaki property, which is believed to have been used to kill those who disappeared, we discovered hair, flakes, and skin and blood. Well, okay, yeah, a bunch of people. Damn, Rika and Sadako really did die. That sucks. At the time of her imprisoned classmates' evidence, we continued searching Sodazaki family. We found they were imprisoned, believing that they were still there, but the suspects weren't there. In addition, investigations are continuing as per participation in the serial freak death incidents, but no evidence that Mion Sodazaki was involved, either directly or indirectly, has been found. There are still many unclear points to have been the motive and such. Okay. Hinamizawa, damn. The opinion of the local officer knowledgeable about the region is that have been a lynching, an internal form of punishment, and something about the beliefs of Hinamizawa village. Incidents are particularly rooted in his religion. Prefectural police department has ordered to declare something. I can't read this fast enough, I'm not gonna lie. Shion Sonozaki, the suspect's younger sister, that has been imprisoned the longest time, stricken by the grave and after effects, and has not been in the state of mind to properly answer the questions she knows. A psychiatrist has been, pulled up to help her, but obviously there hasn't been anything. Only a few days passed since that time. After that, I was rescued by Oishi and his subordinates, whom Rena had called in. Aside from my entirely blank state of mind, I had no external injuries. The most I had was a small burn mark from where the stun gun hit me. As I was having a checkup in the hospital, Oishi asked me all sorts of things, but I don't remember. I don't really remember what he asked or how I answered them. From what I heard, surprisingly, Mion still hasn't been captured. There were apparently a great many hallways and smaller rooms extending out from the depths of the prison. It wouldn't be strange if she fled to one of those and hidden herself. The one fortunate aspect amidst all of the misfortune was that Shion had been safely secured by the police. When I last saw Mion, she seemed like she was going to take me with her and then kill me. She probably didn't have enough time to, though, since Oishi came running in faster than she predicted. That was the only really fortunate thing to have happened. Of course, the rescued Shion, despite having no external injuries, had now had a big, deep wound in her heart. She was in a severe state of confusion when they rescued her, and apparently she bit the police officers trying to resist. Yeah, that sucks. From what I heard, she was seeing Mion in everyone she saw. Hated not only the hospital, but even her own home. She had shut herself up somewhere in Shishibone, hiding her location. Additionally, in fear of that Mion would come for her, she was moving from place to place every day, and even her parents weren't sure where she actually was. Wherever she was living, even now, Shion was spending her days in fear of Mion's shadow. Damn. The police were investigating the Sonozaki's underground storehouse at this moment. Since they couldn't find the remains of the other sacrifices, hadn't Mion thrown the corpses into a well? I had a feeling I'd said that to him. That meant a hidden tunnel, vertical like a well, was somewhere in those underground passages. The secret underground, without any maps. All right, there's the wasp. Okay, I'm gonna kill this thing real quick. Oh shoot! Where the fuck did that thing go? Damn, I hate these wasps, man. Sheesh. Hold on. Alright. We back. The secret underground without any maps or architectural drawings. Probably, you know, struggling to, you know, go through it. That makes a lot of sense. Which had swallowed up the remains of Rika and Sadako, and everyone else was still unwilling to speak the truth. Yep. I was brought back to that basement again, too, for an on-site and on-the-site inspection or something. But I didn't remember anything being of any help. I never wanted to go back there again. Valid. For days afterwards, the Sonozakis, living in Okinomiya, in other words, Mion and Shion's parents, the big-name Yakuza, would come to our house to apologize, bringing many of their followers with them. Damn. However much my parents refused it, they piled up many 100,000 yen bills, calling it consolation money every day. The amount of money grew each day, and after it had passed 2 million, whoa, okay, they were even given an envelope containing a letter. I don't know what was written in the letter. My parents talked about it by themselves for 2 whole nights and decided to move away. Damn. I see. You're moving, huh? When? At the end of the month. At the end of next month. I won't even have been in Hinamazawa for half a year. Damn. So it's been like 5 months. Or, yeah, we would have been here for like 5 months, roughly. Okay. I'll be lonely. I'm the only one left. Rena smiled sadly. If I had just said yeah, I thought it would make her even more lonely. So I changed the subject. Here's something to think about. That's how I broached it. Mion hadn't actually fled. She had been demoned away in the truest sense of the term. Where she went after she disappeared, that we didn't know. That was what was there, where she had disappeared to. I hope there was a hobby shop dealing in imports that kind Mion liked. In that place, she would definitely be freed from the burdensome fetters of her family, and live as not as Mion Sonozaki, but just as Mion, and enjoy herself. Maybe she's already met up with Sadako and Rika. That must also have been waiting for the day that Rena and I would have joined them, spending all their time doing club activities and as lively as they always were. When I told Rena that, she smiled and nodded at me. Damn. The incidents the Sonozaki family had been trying to so hard to hide, too, were exposed to the magazines from this single tiny seam. The serial incidents of recent years were all pulled up like a long vine in the ground, one by one, and for many days, news of it was brought up on talk and variety shows which were comedic and silly, never once tried to touch upon the grim, heavy history that Mion had been bearing. It made me mad to see them bringing this stuff up in jest, but there was nothing I could do about it now. How big an impression would these short few weeks I spent in Hinamizawa have on my life? During these few weeks, I met my best friends, and I had the best experiences of my life. I would probably never forget it for as long as I lived. As for the distorted image of Mion that the media created, after the masses got tired of treating her like a plaything, they would ball her up, throw her in the trash, and then she would fade from their memories. As one of the few people who knew the real Mion, I must always make sure I remember her. Beyond any doubt, that will surely become any offering to her. All right, Sav, what you miss? Basically, Mion was the super, like, she was the bad guy, obviously. She took me to a secret fucking torture room on her property, almost killed me, or Keiichi, I guess. Almost killed Keiichi. But got saved last minute by that big old fucking cop dude that you saw the last time. Like, the dude you said he was huge. Yeah, that guy. And her sister, like, Shion's alive, surprisingly. She's just like living in constant fear of Mion now because she was in prison for like 4 days, just being tortured every day. So yeah, now it's basically the end of the fucking thing. Keiichi's leaving and blah blah blah, you know. So yeah, that's basically, we're wrapping it up pretty much. That will surely become my offering to her. The sky reached up so far up and towering. What? Columnimbus clouds, sure, floated through it. The real summer was just before my eyes. Even now, whenever 10 p.m. came around, I would expect a phone call from Shion or Mion, or rather. Now that everything was over, of course, she would never call me. But it was precisely because she wouldn't call me that I was scared of who would call me at this time. What about Rena? Okay, Rena's alive. Sounds like Keiichi should have died. Yeah, he should have almost died. Rena's alive, surprisingly. So yeah, basically it's just Rena and Keiichi are the only people alive still. So that's something. Plus, Mion's still hadn't been caught. Oh yeah, Mion's still on the run, by the way. Mion's just like around. Like, she managed to get away, so she's just chilling. And she's like a demon now. She's possessed by a demon and shit. I couldn't say for sure that everything was completely over. I remember Rena killing Keiichi in the anime. Yeah, like, that's like another, like, because like, from what I know about this series is that like every different like iteration, like the anime and shit, are just different loops. Like everything like is different in every single way or whatever. Like, Chapter 2 is different than Chapter 1. Chapter 1's different than the fucking anime or whatever. So, yeah. So, they're just loops in time of, like, Keiichi's time in Hinamizawa, pretty much. On the other side of that fear, though, were my prayers that Mion was safe. I remember Rena when she was mad at Keiichi for snitching, yeah. When I thought like that, I was able to sleep, even with such terrifying thoughts. The lights were off. Before her attacking, when the lights were off, was something that scared me. However, that feeling changed to regret within 2 days. The moonlight filtered through the gap in the curtains, shone onto the desk, and illuminated a doll. That's right. The doll that I should have given to Mion that day. She beat Keiichi with the bat. Yeah, that happened, yeah. She said it was an import from England or something, and was all the rage, didn't she? From what Shion said, the most popular among them were the ones that were wearing the fluffy dress. After being released from the incident, the first place I went back was that toy store. Everything was apparently sold out because, or besides the things on the front, the storefront displays. All right, all right. I was refused once when they said they wouldn't sell the displayed products, but when they realized I was a survivor, I was survivor A from the incident, they immediately consented. Yeah, we'll sell it to you, man. Yeah, we're gonna get so much recognition from that. Casey should awareness and cautious. Just call them private with detective. Like, I don't know. It's like Buddy's kind of a fucking idiot, bro. Of course, even if I bought it, I might never have the chance to give it to her again. Even knowing that, I waited for the opportunity to give it to her. I mean, call the feds without being seen or something. I waited for the opportunity with it on the desk so I could give it to her at any time. Plonk. It was a weird noise. It was a weird noise I wasn't used to hearing. It was too big to be raindrops, and it was completely different from the sound lost bugs make when they ram into fluorescent lights. I figured I must have misheard and nestled back into my futon. Plonk. The noise happened again. I wasn't hearing things. I definitely heard it. Where was it coming from? I got up and turned on the light. If there was a second, there would be a third. From where, though? I listened carefully. Plonk. The window. Some sort of pebbles were colliding with my window. When I realized they weren't being blown there by the wind, or rather being thrown by a person, I gave a start. I looked at the clock. It was 2 a.m. Who would it be at a time like this? Clearly, fucking Mion, buddy. I quietly peeked out front through the gap in the curtains. In the light of the gate, despite it being so late, I saw someone. They picked up a piece of gravel and threw it at the window. It hit the window and made a plonking noise. Who was it? Ah. I caught my breath in surprise. If my eyes weren't deceiving me, that person was Mion. I threw open the window and looked at the figure again. My eyes certainly wasn't deceiving me. Why? Yeah, buddy. Why? Like, my question right now is, why in the absolute fuck is there not like some cop watching your house? Like, buddy, it's been like 2 days. It hasn't even been like a week yet since like she just tried to murder you. And there's not a cop outside of your house? Okay. It was Mion. It was Mion. She was alive. Mion pressed her index finger to her lips and made a shh motion so I wouldn't shout. If she hadn't, well, I was nearly about to cry out. Mion was in a very delicate position right now. Even if it was the middle of the night, I shouldn't call out her name. I waved to her, gestured that I'd be right over, flung on my coat atop my pajamas, and flew out the door. Terrible idea. I quickly hit the brakes before going down the stairs. Although happiness was sprouting within me, I had the sad feeling that this would be our final parting. She just fucking shanks him. I went back to my room again and grabbed the doll. If there was a God, I don't think I would ever have thanked him so much as today. Even if it would be the last time we ever saw each other, I was so grateful that for this one chance to give it to her. Yeah, I slipped into my sandals, unlocked the door, and unhooked the door, and leaped out of the house. Mion. It's been a while. How are you? Why are we talking to her? Been doing all right? I'm surprised she's not trying to murder me already, but I mean, I guess like there's this whole like fucking hesitation, wavering bullshit. It was like how we used to meet every morning. Mion waved to me and responded like she always did. It was doubtlessly Mion. It was the real Mion. Are you alright hanging around this place? I really shouldn't be. She certainly wasn't acting like she knew the police were following her. It was almost like she was a patient who had gotten tired of staying in the hospital and snuck out. Her speech was relaxed enough to make me think so, and I couldn't help but be surprised. That relaxation, though, I thought was more like Mion, and I was happy for it. Anyway, what's wrong? What did you need at this hour? I wanted to talk to you at least one last time. That was when I noticed them. On Mion's forehead were big droplets of sweat. Her expression, too, which I had thought it would be a satisfied smile, was on closer inspection trembling slightly, and I realized that she was forcing it. Well, I can't stay it for any longer. A pained note was beginning to enter her words as well, as if smiling was a feat for her. Are you all right? Buddy, are you not feeling well? I tried so hard until right now, but I can tell I'm done. This is my limit. They're about to come up behind me and take me away. Mion's smile crumbled and started to stiffen. Did she push herself this much to come all this way for me? Her laughter cut off and changed it to breathing. I reached out and rubbed her neck, but she knocked me away. Are you okay? Don't force yourself. Oh, that's right. I had something to give to you, Mion. This doll. I wanted to do this one last thing because I knew how little time you had left. But this last thing, I fucking knew it. Go. My stomach. It's burning. Mion took a meat cleaver-like knife and stabbed me. Like, bro, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? This nigga really pissed me off, bro. And pushed it in tight and took it and twisted it. Mion, hey, what? It hurts. I made it. I made it. I cowered on the ground. My stomach was hot. It was almost spewing fire. Mion watched it, then took a few steps back and cackled. Yeah, I've done it. I've done it all. That's everyone I wanted to kill. Yeah. Weird ass laughter. The last words Mion left with that day came back to me. Keiichi, a dumb idiot. After that day, Mion will never come back. From that today on, nobody, even if my body is here, a body is all it will be. But then the demon will have been taken over. The demon. Me on. Fucking idiot, bro. This can't. I thought we had finally been able to meet. Are you fucking, like, I hate that he's so fucking stupid, bro. Fuck. I thought bro was gonna survive. In a pool of blood of my own design is the doll I bought for Mion, dyed in red. So red. Mion. I knew this motherfucker was gonna get shanked outside, bro. The good fortune of having been allowed to meet Mion one last time, and the misfortune of that meeting being torn away before my eyes. Should I be grateful or curse it? My emotions were neither of those, as my consciousness sunk deep into a blank swamp. The doll I bought for Mion, the blood had ruined it. No matter how scrubbed it had needlessly been ruined. The sad moon was so white it looked frozen. Fucking stupid, bro. That's all I gotta say. 2883. A violent incident occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shinatabone City Prefecture. Keiichi Mibara, also a victim of the previous string of disappearances, around 2 a.m. was stabbed in the stomach and bled out by the suspect of the last case, Mion Sonozaki, and was gravely wounded. He was discovered by his parents and woke up. He escaped death. Okay, he's alive. The criminal fled the scene. He's surprisingly alive. On the same day, at approximately the same time, a fall accident occurred in Kamishiki apartment complex. The victim was Shion Sonozaki, who also a victim. Neighbors overheard a big fight with someone and informed the manager. The manager used the master key in the room, and the victim had fallen from the 8. Yeah, so she killed me. She killed Shion, but Keiichi lived. The room had been torn apart and appeared to show traces of a fight. One neighbor had frequently visited the Sonozaki house for a long time and testified that he heard what sounded like the two sisters having a fight, trading insults back and forth. Hinamizawa village perpetrated, or the incident's suspect, but we could not find any traces that would imply that anyone had been there. Fell straight down into the foliage of a parking strip. Her neck broke and she died immediately. Yep. Her clothes are severed and markings that would imply a scuffle. People are saying that's an insanity-induced suicide attempt. It clearly was an attempt. We were conducting a thorough examination of it being suicide. Fucking stupid! Fucking stupid! Fucking stupid! God, that shit pissed me off. Is that it? Oh, there's still more. Oh, there's still more. How can they write so much? Only for 5 minutes, understand? Please try not to excite him. Yes, I'll be careful. Clank. The door opened as I expected. Oishi came in. Hello, Maebara. It's been a while, hasn't it? Tell me, how have you been since then? The doctor says my post-portative recovery seems to be going smoothly, but I think I got worse when I saw your face. You wound me. As Oishi gave a laugh that smelled of sweat, he handed Mom a bag of assorted candies he must have purchased from a souvenir corner on the first floor in the hospital, of course. Excuse me, Miss Maebara. Would it be possible for me to talk to Keiichi for just a few moments? Mom clearly wasn't pleased at the thought of a police officer talking to her son without her there. However, I insisted. Ma, sorry for just a little while. 5 minutes, okay? Though, grudgingly, Mom left the room. When she closed the door, Oishi grinned widely and looked around the room. A room to yourself? How high class. My old lady always gets a shared room, you know. It is quite lively here, however. Seems like you're a higher rank if you have a worse disease in a place like this. The sicker you are, the prouder you are, or maybe the more arrogant. Oishi, we only have 5 minutes. I would like it if these 5 minutes were we were the last 5 minutes we ever saw of each other. I don't have any connection to Hinamizawa anymore, and this isn't a Hinamizawa either. This isn't even any Hinamizawa no more, man. Yes, okay. Because there aren't any general hospitals in Okinomiya. Mind if I take a seat? Down we go. This is the large university hospital in Shishibone City. It was a splendidly urban, entirely different from the likes of Hinamizawa and Okinomiya. It was hard to believe that Hinamizawa was part of the same city. When does it feel like you'll get transferred? Don't know. I'm ready to go whenever, though. Our moving plans were delayed a little bit because of my serious injury. My parents had already left the house in Hinamizawa, though, and were living in a new one. They planned to have me transfer hospitals to be closer to the new house once I'd recovered enough to be taken there. Please don't come to where I'm transferring. Will get worse then. Man, you really do hate me. It may just be my job, but that stings. That's why I brought you all kinds of lovely souvenirs in atonement. You didn't need to bring me an assortment of cookies for that. Well, you see, there aren't actually cookies in there. Look. Oishi pulls open a can of cookies and... What? Ow, ow! I'm stretching my scar. I didn't know that you were what you were into, Maebara, so I bought all sorts of things. Okay. All sorts of cute looking things, or ones, from westerns to comic strips. Lately, they have the sort of H manga aimed at girls too. Alright, buddy. Don't bring porn in here. Take them away and go home. Ow, ow. I thought for sure a healthy young person like you would be feeling a little needy. Maybe being cooped up in a place like this for so long. If you stay here too long, the only fetish you'll end up with is a nurse one, you know. There are plenty of beautiful things in this world beside nurses, after all. Don't decide to major in what to major in now. Keep your options open. This motherfucker, bro. Be a more all-around person. All-around type of person. I gave Oishi's vulgar laughter a pained grin. Somehow or other, I understood. The fact that Oishi was bringing it up like this meant that he must had something important to talk about. The incident with Shion was really unfortunate. The night I was stabbed by Mion, Shion fell from her balcony and died. They said the police were investigating all the possibilities, accident, suicide, and homicide, but it could have only been Mion's doing. Mion found out where Shion was hiding and pushed her down to her death. Nothing else was conceivable. It couldn't have been an accident. It was Mion. It had to be. The criminology guys are saying it had to be a suicide, but I'm on the same opinion as you, Maybara. She pushed Shion and also stabbed you in one night. Has Mion still not been found? Oh, that's right. That's what I came here to tell you today. Yes, we actually did find her. What? Ow, ow, ow. Learning that, I felt rather strange to me. I was partly relieved that the incident was truly over, and I was partly sorry that my best friend had finally been caught. I felt many other things too. My heart was a maze of emotions. That's not all. In the Sonozaki house catacombs, we found a hidden well. Just as you said, Maybara, we found the remains of those who disappeared at the bottom. I see. The sliver of hope, the possibility I'd believed in that Rika and Sadako were alive just from the fact their remains had been found gone. It was incredibly well hidden in those catacombs. I mean, it was in a blind spot of another blind spot. It was a vertical tunnel dug out like a well. There was a ladder set up there too. And when we went all the way down, there was another tunnel built there going through it. When we followed it a few hundred meters, we found ourselves at the mouth of an old unused well in the mountains. Jesus Christ. So much shit over there. I wonder if it was a secret escape route a previous Sonozaki family leader built. Probably was. Maybe it was made in the Meiji era. Still, I'm impressed they built something like that. So everyone's remains were at the bottom? Yes. Even deeper than the escape path, there was a pool of coal tar. They'd been actually thrown in there. They had fallen from a fairly high spot, so their remains were totally buried in it. It took a lot of time and effort to pull all their bodies up. Did you find them all? I hope that they at least wouldn't find Rika and Sadako. That was what I wished for when I asked. But my shallow hope was crushed in the blink of an eye. Yes, all of them. In fact, we also find human bows we think are over a decade old. We think there are at least 3 people. I suppose it's the dark side of Hinamizawa's store history. I wonder how many people's bones we'll find when we've sucked out all the mud. It's a scary thought. That weight had been pushed down on Mion's shoulders this entire time. Mion. We're currently identifying people who have disappeared from Shishibone City decades ago. People are talking about how this opportunity might let us resolve the disappearing person cases that have been abandoned. After a deep silence, he breathed a heavy sigh. Oishi went for his cigarettes to pass the time, but realized this was a non-smoking era, so he gave up and put them back in his shirt pocket. All right. This is a bit of a detour, but you know Rika Furude, right? Of course. She's my friend. Did she ever tell you anything along the lines of her regularly taking insulin injections for diabetes? Huh? Rika has diabetes? I didn't know what he was talking about. Huh. Actually, we found it in her skirt pocket. A syringe. It was destroyed, though, so we couldn't identify the medicine. It was a bit out of place, so I got interested. You really don't know anything? What the fuck was Rika up to? I don't know anything about Rika carrying syringes around with her. The Sonozaki family corporates, or the Yakuza people. Anyway, there's rumors that they deal in psychostimulants. I was thinking that they might that might have something to do with it too. Are you trying to tell me that Rika's a drug addict? No, not at all. That isn't what I'm saying. It just seems strange, however you look at it, that she would bring a syringe with her on her way to get soy sauce. I have no idea what any of that means. My eyes are spinning. Can we fucking wrap this up, please? Like, fuck. I got sick. I feel sick. Interesting. I mean, I know what that is, but I mean, I know what that syringe is all about, but yeah. Are you all right? Should I call the nurse? I'm fine. Please continue. Well, that's all I had to say about the syringe. It was the only thing that particularly struck me as interesting. Rika. Rika was sort of like the village mascot after all. It looks like the village is in an uproar right now between the older, blind believers and the Sonozaki family who killed her. The three families' effective control over the village is basically in shambles too. If someone came up to them with the talk of a dam again with the sort of timing, the entire village would be abandoned for sure this time. I'm not related to Hinamizawa anymore. I actually was. I just said it because the thought about Hinamizawa being abandoned was unpleasant, and I wanted to end the conversation quickly. There was a knock on the door. I opened it. It opened slightly, and my mom asked if we were still talking. Whoops. We went off topic, didn't we? What a pickle. I looked at the clock. 5 minutes were long past. I told my mother that there was something he really wanted to ask, and if she could wait a little longer. Is that so? Keep it short, okay? There wasn't any getting around the fact that she was waiting. She was thinking about the police officer could be talking to her son about. Maybe we should choose another day for this. Oishi, Mion, how is she right now? I wanted to just hear that answer and then get rid of him. Before I tell you this, or tell you that, I just need one thing from you. I just need you to answer something honestly. Something in all honesty. What is it? I want you to take your answer seriously, got it? If you say something indiscreet, it could be viewed as obstruction of investigation and you could be prosecuted. Oishi kept threatening me until the end. What the hell does he want? Maebara, who do you think the criminal who pushed Shion from the balcony? There's no way it could be anyone but Mion, is there? Then who was the one who stabbed you? Please don't make me say it again. It was Mion Sonozaki. Oishi smiled bitterly and then dabbed at his forehead with the handkerchief to wipe his sweat. He should have expected that answer, and yet it looked like he wasn't satisfied with it at all. She pushed Shion and stabbed me. Didn't you just admit yourself that Shion was a criminal? The evidence we have that Mion killed Shion is based on testimony from the man living next door. This neighbor is actually a member of an organized crime group. In other words, he is Shion's bodyguard. It seems he's a veteran leader in that vein and was like a parent to the Sonozaki sisters growing up. Interesting. That man said this. The noise he heard from the door, from next door, was like the sound of a fight between sisters that he was used to hearing when they were still living together. And no, there was no doubt about it. He said he heard Mion and Shion insulting each other and heard them struggling. At first, though, he thought it was a hallucination she was having brought on by her dementia. You see, he thought that because that sort of ruckus had been occurring every night. However, that night had been longer than the rest, and he claimed that he went to her room to give her a sedative. The noise died down while he got to the manager to give him the key. He's already decided to check up on her, and after she wasn't answering his calls, she took the plunge and unlocked the door. He took the plunge and unlocked the door. Then they saw that the room was a mess. Since Shion had been pushed over the balcony, they decided to have been Mion, and that's not how it happened. In other words, he only heard from the other side of the wall, plus because the apartment complex is connected to the organization, it doesn't have many residents. So they were the only ones who heard it happening. The retire rate. There was only one person who witnessed Mion Sonozaki, even if he didn't see her. Isn't it obviously Mion's doing? Now settle down. This is what I'm saying. It means that you are the only one who saw Mion Sonozaki for sure last night. After all, Shion, the other witness, is no longer alive. What are you trying to say? I don't really understand. At this point, Oishi paused. The fact that this was a no-smoking area completely slipped his mind, and he took out his pack of cigarettes again. Kerclank, he lit one with his lighter, and exhaled a long stream of tobacco smoke. Were you really stabbed by Mion Sonozaki? Yes. There's no doubt about it. The smoke Oishi breathed out floated away like a thundercloud swept away by the wind. Oishi, you can't smoke in here. The nurses will get mad. Actually, we found Mion Sonozaki at the bottom of that well too? Nigga, what? Bro, what? She fell to her death. We believe that she was trying to escape the hidden passage at the well. Her foot slipped while climbing down the ladder. She fell to the bottom, broke her neck, and died. Yes. So you're telling me that Shion stabbed her? Yes, the same way as Shion. She broke her neck. Well. What? After you passed out that day, Mion tried to escape using the hidden well, but her foot slipped and she died. As if beckoned by the corpses of the other sacrifices, she dropped down there. But that doesn't make any sense, does it? The autopsy came to the conclusion that she definitely died on that day. She didn't go back there after attacking you and Shion. She was already dead by then. My jaw was on the floor. There was absolutely no way that could be. Mion was the one who stabbed me. It had to be her. It had to have been her. There wouldn't have been anyone else to do it. Then, who attacked Shion and me? Who was it? The one who attacked you was someone who was Mion Sonozaki and yet not Mion Sonozaki. My mind had become a complete mess and I was starting to lose my ability to think straight. Do you remember how Mio Takano died? Takano? Yes. I think I heard that she was burned to death in some distant mountains. We learned that she was burned after being strangled to death. The Gifu station did in the autopsy. It's a little bit strange. The results of the preliminary autopsy said that she had been dead for at least 24 hours. Since that was contradictory, in their panic, they seem to have revised it to say that she died earlier that day. Despite me being able to be an absolute wreck over what was going on with Mion, he was telling me that there was even more on top of that. Dude, how are we still fucking going? I didn't understand the complex things Oishi was telling me. The result, saying she had been dead for 24 hours, as her own. Holy fuck. The results saying that she had been dead for 24 hours as our own. This is so fucking annoying. Our own old fucking continue. It's pretty damn reliable. So that would mean I've asked that question over and over. But on the night of Wata Nagashi, you were with Mio Takano, weren't you? I was. You also met her the day before while setting up the festival, right? I mean, I ran into her too. Yes, I was there. I was with her then. If she'd been dead for 24 hours, then that would mean she was already dead by the day before the festival. See, this is all stupid. This is so stupid. That can't be. She was alive during the festival preparations. However, when you slipped into the ritual storehouse, Takano was already dead. The origin of all that happened. The beginning of everything. Our intrusion of the ritual storehouse, which had come to regret countless times. The one who tempted me, Takino. When she invited me into the storehouse, she was already no longer in this world, or of this world. Oh my god. There are too many dead people walking around in this incident. An incident caused by a dead person and ended by a dead person. Also, apparently they're under pressure to revise the time of Mion Sonozaki's death to not to the day of the incident, but to right after she stabbed you. Probably pressure from the outside to get this incident wrapped up already. So I'd appreciate if you didn't say a word of this to anybody. Oishi grabbed his jacket that was hanging on the chair, but put out a cigarette from with the bottom of his foot and started pretending to wave away the smoke floating around. I've stayed too long. I've come here thinking I could at least end this incident as it implied to you, but it looks like it got even more baffling instead. Absentmindedly, he walked towards the door, looking at me, unable to speak, out of the corner of his eye. If it so happens that something comes up to you, you want to talk about in the future, call me anytime. My business card is in those souvenirs from before. When the time comes, I'll pay you a visit with some wonderful souvenirs again. Boy, she seemed to think I was still hiding something. That I, after all this, would be hiding something. I'm the one things are being hidden from. I'm the one who wants to know. Then let us meet again one day. Take care of yourself. Slam. I listened to the tap, tap, tap of Oishi walking down the hallway. I still couldn't return to the from a state of bewilderment. He wanted to end his incident as it applied to me. What was over? Nothing was over. The incident was still continuing. Dun dun dun. Then slip. My arm covered in flesh blood came out from underneath the bed. Oh, an arm covered in fresh blood. I wasn't that surprised. This was an illusion I was seeing, seized but with fear. Keiichi, I told you, remember? I heard a guttural voice coming from under the bed. I still recognized it as Mion's voice. What, Mion? What did you tell me? I warned you on that day. After today, if you see me, it will be the demon that was possessed my body. You did say that, didn't you? Sorry. Guess I wasn't careful enough. That's why I got stabbed. Possibly wounds sustained when she fell from the ladder. Many of her fingernails were broken and torn. Her arms slowly felt about the top of the bed, searching for mine. Oh, hey, Mion. I just, thought of a good joke. Want to hear it? The Mion under the bed didn't answer. Let's say that I died here today, but tomorrow I'd still be here, living a normal life. So when Oishi learned about it afterwards, the time of death wouldn't make sense once again. He'd make a huge deal about how someone who should have died was alive, and he'd totally lose his head. Takino and Mion, and me third, so funny, right? Makes you laugh, doesn't it? Keiichi, laugh, or was it not that funny? Mion's bloodstained hand groped around and found my wrist. Though her fingernails were torn, she gripped it hard as if scratching me. Ow. Ow, go easy. Ow, it hurts. Keiichi, I've come for you. I tried to shake my wrist loose, but the strength she held in it was unbelievable, and I couldn't. She was gripping my own wrist, and yet my whole body wouldn't move. I couldn't even twitch. My fingers were spread apart, and I couldn't make a fist either. And that fact, I couldn't make a fist, reminded me of the restraining table. Huh? I felt a crooked nail against my left pinky fingertip. Mion's forehead was split open. With the face covered in with blood, she smiled and got right up in front of my nose. Nothing was over. Nothing was over. The incident was far from being over. It was still going on. It was still happening. Someone please end this incident. This cruel, tragic, unfortunate, sad incident. Please end it. That is my only wish. I granted you one before, remember? You don't get any more. Mion firmly held the nail down on my fingertip, and with the other hand, she slowly swung a mallet up into the air and... Dun dun dun. That shit took way too fucking long, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. That shit dragged so fucking long at the end. Like, dude, it's just like, whoa, you don't know what you're no, whoa, whoa, whoa. That shit pissed me off, I'm not gonna lie. All right, yo, I'm out this bitch.